I lost all my hair trying to save Jijua at the engagement banquet. His childhood sweetheart Su Yunshu publicly snatched off my wig. She giggled playfully. Sister Sia's hair is a badge of honor for shielding Brother Ji from misfortune. Everyone ought to see it. The gasps and hushed whispers of the packed audience. The kid made a face and called me an ugly monster from Ultraman. Even my future mother-in-law said I was a toad lusting after a swan's flesh. I looked at Jijua, but he just held his wine glass, his expression indifferent. Sia is too kind-hearted to bother with them in a daze. I walked to the rooftop and jumped. When I opened my eyes, I had gone back 1 hour before I saved Jijua. 1. Sister Sia, Brother Ji is in trouble, Su Yunshu cried out. The warehouse in the West District is on fire. He ran in to grab some documents and hasn't come out yet. Oh, I replied calmly. Oh, see you. Is that all you have to say? That's your fiancé. Su Yunshu's voice rose sharply. I gave a light chuckle and walked toward the wardrobe. Pack your things. Why should I worry about someone who can't die? In my past life, I charged into the fire like a madman. The wet coat shielded him, but his back and hair were completely burned, unrecognizable. Spent 3 months in the hospital. Jijua only came once, bringing Su Yunshu with him. He frowned. Sia, why are you so impulsive? The document isn't important. Su Yunshu hid behind, timidly saying, Sia sister, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. At the engagement party, Su Yunshu personally yanked off my wig, bald scalp exposed before guests. Mrs. G scolded me. You toad, the G family can't bear this shame, even children call me a monster. Jijua held a wine glass, his expression detached. Sia is kind-hearted, she won't hold a grudge, he said. Yes, I am kind, so kind that I leapt from the 20th floor. Sia, are you even listening to me? If we don't go now, Brother G won't make it, Su Yunshu shrieked. I folded the last piece of clothing and zipped up the suitcase. Su Yunshu, I cut her off. If you're so worried, why don't you go save him yourself? Dead silence fell on the other end of the line. I can imagine the look of shock and venom on her face. I'm just a weak woman. How can I go into a fire scene? She started up with that again. Shut up, you weak little woman. I hung up. Block her. Block Jijua. The world is at peace. I pulled my suitcase along without a hint of nostalgia, stepping out of the villa where we had lived together for 3 years. Downstairs, a black Bentley came to a stop. The window rolled down, revealing a face that was both refined and cold. Shinmachan, Jijua's business arch-rival. In a previous life, I'd only seen him in financial news. He looked at me, then at the suitcase, his thin lips parted slightly. Running away from home. Her voice was cool and detached. It's just a breakup, I replied flatly. He raised an eyebrow, somewhat surprised. Where to? I'll give you a ride. Whatever, just not here. The driver got out of the car and helped me with my luggage. The car smoothly pulled onto the highway. The in-car radio broadcast the news. A massive fire has broken out at the Hanyuan warehouse in the west of the city. The blaze is intense, and casualties remain unknown. Mr. Jijua, president of the G Group, was inside the warehouse at the time. I turned my head to look out the window. The cityscape rushed past. In my past life, I rescued Jijua. He inhaled thick smoke and needed a week to recover. In this life, without me, what will become of him? A faint smile touched my lips. Shinmachan spoke up suddenly. You seem pleased. I turned to meet his probing gaze. I am, I admitted frankly. My ex-boyfriend might be burned to death. Isn't that worth celebrating? Shinmachan gave me a long, deep look. He said nothing. The car pulled up in front of the 5-star hotel. Shinmachan handed over a key card. Get settled in first. If you need anything, call this number. It was a business card, bearing nothing but a string of digits. Why are you helping me? I can't stand Jijua, he replied matter-of-factly. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I accept this reason. I entered the lobby with my room key, the presidential suite. The first thing I did, take a hot bath. Indiana, the misty haze. The mirror reveals skin unblemished, a head of lustrous, raven black hair. It felt like a lifetime ago. That's good. It's not too late for anything I had been soaking for a long time. My phone started buzzing like crazy. Unknown number. I answered. It was Jijua's mother, her voice hysterical. Sia, where the hell have you been? Ajwa rushed into the fire for you, and now he's missing. You jinx. I frowned. For me, in the last life, he clearly said it was for the documents. Auntie, you're mistaken. We've broken up. His life or death has nothing to do with me. You heartless wretch. The G family must be blind. If anything happens to Ajwa, I'll never let you off. She was screaming obscenities. I hung up immediately. I slipped into a bathrobe and poured myself a glass of red wine. Down below, the streets are bustling with traffic and neon lights flicker. This is life, not a hospital bed. Watching myself rot day after day. The next morning, the doorbell woke me up. Opened the door. Jijua stood at the entrance, unharmed, pale-faced, with bloodshot eyes. The look they gave me was positively ravenous. Behind him stood Su Yunshu, weeping with pear blossom like tears, and Mrs. G, her face a mask of fury. Su Xia, you've really outdone yourself this time. Mrs. G was the first to lash out. A slap came flying toward me. I dodged to the side. She missed, nearly stumbling and falling. Jijua caught her. How dare you dodge? Mrs. G trembled with rage. I looked at her coldly. What gives you the right to hit me? What gives me the right? The fact that you nearly got my son killed in that fire. Did I force him to go in there? I shot back. Mrs. G was left speechless. Jijua finally spoke, his voice hoarse. Xia, why didn't you answer your phone? His expression was complicated. Didn't feel like it, I said, leaning lazily against the doorframe. Do you have any idea how worried I was? I thought something had happened to you. He stepped forward, reaching for my hand. I took a step back, avoiding it. Concerned about me? Shouldn't you be in the fire, waiting for me to save you? The air froze. Jijua stared at me intently, trying to spot any flaw in my expression. Behind him, Ji's mother and Su Yunshu clearly didn't understand what was going on. Ajua, why waste your breath on her? A cold-hearted woman like this isn't worthy of you. Mrs. G continued to shout. Su Yunshu spoke softly. Brother G, don't be angry. Sister Xia might have been momentarily confused. As she spoke, she tugged at Jijua's arm with an intimate familiarity. In my past life, I simply couldn't stand seeing her act like that. We'd get into arguments, and Jijua would accuse me of being childish. Now, I just find it all rather amusing. Jijua, I broke the silence. Since you're fine, take your mother and your childhood sweetheart and get out of my sight. I don't want to see any of you again. Xia, Jijua's voice was urgent. We need to talk. There's nothing to talk about. I moved to close the door. He shoved his hand against the door to stop it. His strength was astonishing. Su Xia, what do you really want? What do I want? I want all you disgusting people to stay far away from me. Get out, I said coldly. A cool, detached voice sounded from behind. Mr. G, is it really appropriate to bring people to block my friend's door first thing in the morning? Shinmochan had appeared at some point. He wore only a silk robe. The collar was slightly open. His hair was damp. Just woke up. He casually rested his hand on my shoulder. An intimate gesture. Jijua's gaze turned vicious in an instant, fixed intently on Shinmochan's hand on my shoulder. Shinmochan, what are you doing here? Why can't I be here? Shinmochan chuckled softly. He looked down at me with a gentle gaze. Darling, these flies are making such a racket. Should I have security show them out? Baby, I almost laughed out loud. Shinmochan's acting skills are so good. It's a shame he's not going for an Oscar. But I played along, nestling closer into his arms. Alright. Jijua's expression was beyond description as merely unpleasant. He was on the verge of collapse. Su Xia, you and him, when did it start? He gritted out. When you and Su Yunshu went to the private observatory to watch the meteor shower, or when I took the hits for you, drank myself to the point of stomach bleeding and ended up in the hospital, while you were off celebrating her birthday. With every word I spoke, Jijua's face grew a little paler. All of that happened in a past life. I will use these shameful secrets he's kept buried, and slice him apart, piece by piece. His mouth opened and closed. He couldn't explain a thing because it was all true. Jijua, I lifted my head, meeting his gaze directly. We were over long ago, the moment you chose Su Yunshu, again and again. With that, I turned away from him. I'm tired, I said to Shinmochan. Shinmochan understood. He put his arm around my shoulder. Bang, the door slammed shut. Outside the door, Mrs. G's furious curses, Su Yunshu's sobs inside. Shinmochan and I exchanged a knowing smile. Thanks, I said. Don't mention it. Shinmochan released my hand and stepped back, putting distance between us. Just acting. He paused, then added, but seeing Jijua's face, like he'd just eaten shit, was seriously satisfying. Jijua didn't bother me again. I know he won't let this go. It will only make me more paranoid. I stayed in a hotel for 3 days. Shinmochan found me a new apartment. The location is great, and the security is excellent on moving day. He came to pick me up himself. So, what are your plans? He asked from the driver's seat. Find a job, live a good life. In my past life, for Jijua, I gave up my career, content to be the woman behind him. Thinking back on it now, it was utterly foolish. Your company still needs a vice president. Interested, Shinmochan offered the tempting proposition. I was a bit surprised to see him. Mr. Shin, we're not related, so there's no need to go this far for me. I've always said that the enemy of my enemy is my friend, he remarked, his gaze fixed ahead, his tone even. And I truly admire your abilities. My abilities. In my previous life, I pulled countless all-nighters to help Jiju's company go public. The proposed plan has been hailed as a classic within the industry. Everyone thought it was Jiju's doing. How did you know? I asked. I have my sources, Shinmochan said, offering no further explanation. This man was even more inscrutable than I had imagined. I didn't agree right away. I just said I'd think about it. Evening, I got a call from my mother. Sia, what's going on between you and Ajwa? His mom called me today and said some really harsh things, accusing you of being loose and cheating on him with other men. My mom sounded worried. Mom, we broke up. Breaking up? Why would you end things when everything seemed fine? Could it be a misunderstanding? Sia, Ajwa is a good person, don't be unreasonable. In the eyes of all the elders, Jiju came from a good family, had good looks, and was capable. The golden boy, the catch. Everyone wants to marry. Marrying him is a step up for me. In my past life, I thought the same way. Mom, I know him better than you do, I said, my voice turning cold. Stay out of this, I'll handle my own affairs. After hanging up the phone, I felt agitated. This is Jiju's typical move. Since it didn't work on me, he started targeting the people around me. Just as I thought, not long after, my college friend Lin Man sent me a message. See you, check your feed, quick. I opened the app. The latest post was from Su Yunshu. In the photo, she was sitting on a hospital bed, wearing a white dress and 4 was in her arm. Her face was pale, she looked utterly pitiful. Caption, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have upset Siaji and caused her to fight with Jigaj. Now Jigaj has been taking care of me for days without sleep, and I feel so terrible. The entire row of comments below was sympathizing with her and blaming me. Is Sia that vicious? Her fiancé was almost in an accident, and she didn't even check on him, then took her anger out on Yunshu. Exactly, Yunshu is just too kind-hearted, that's why she gets bullied by her. Mr. G must have had 8 lifetimes of bad luck to end up with a fiancé like this. Jiju replied under this post with a single word, good girl, one word, packed with meaning. I let out a cold laugh and tossed my phone aside. Jiju, do you really think this will make me come back to you? For the next day, I agreed to work at Shinmochan's company, take decisive action to tackle several long standing messes. I quickly established myself at the company. Shinmochan seemed to be growing more and more appreciative of me. We often worked late and had meals together. In the eyes of our colleagues, our relationship had become something out of the ordinary. That evening, we had just finished our video conference. Shinmochan suggested grabbing a drink. Jiju has been aggressively acquiring a small new energy company lately, Shinmochan said, swirling his wine glass as if casually mentioning it. That company was your father's life's work, wasn't it? My grip on the cup tightened. The year I graduated from university, my father's company went bankrupt when its funding chain collapsed. The stress of it all left my father bedridden. In a past life, Jiju had done the very same thing. He bought my father's company and gave it to me as a gift. He begged for my forgiveness. He said, Sia, look, I got back the thing your father valued most. From now on, let's live a good life together and stop all this fighting. I was utterly moved at the time. I thought he still had feelings for me. Looking back, it was just another form of his charity and control. He's trying to use this to force me back, I said. What do you think? Shinmochan looked at me. It's just a shell company. If he wants it, he can have it. I took a sip of wine, the spicy liquid sliding down my throat. Shinmochan smiled. You've got guts. We talked a lot. He's very witty. Chatting with him is always a pleasure. We left the bar, and it was almost midnight. Shinmochan insisted on seeing me home at the bottom of the apartment building. I was about to get out of the car when he suddenly called out to me, Sia. I turned my head. He leaned in, a warm breath brushed against my ear. I instinctively flinched, but he only tucked a stray strand of hair behind my ear. Your hair is beautiful, he said. My heart skipped a beat. Just then, blinding headlights swept over us. A familiar Maybach pulled up beside our car. Jiju got out of the car, his face dark and stormy. He rushed over in a few strides, yanked the car door open, and dragged me out. Sia, get down here this instant. His grip on my wrist was painfully tight. Jiju, have you lost your mind? I struggled against him. Shinmochan got out of the car as well, stepping in front of me and shielding me with his body. Mr. G, I must ask you to show some respect. Shinmochan's voice was icy cold. Respect. You were all over my fiancé in a car in the middle of the night, and you expect my respect, G. Shua let out a bitter, incredulous laugh. We've already broken up, I said coldly, poking my head out from behind Shinmochan. I never agreed, Jishua roared, his eyes blazing red. See you, come back with me, stop making a scene. He tried to grab me again, but Shinmochan stepped in to stop him. Two equally remarkable men. A tense standoff in the dead of night, beneath the apartment building, exudes a powerful aura. Jishua. Shinmochan began, Sia is now my vice president, and also my friend. I don't want her to be harassed in any way. Your friend, Jishua sneered. Shinmochan, don't think I don't know what you're up to. You just want to use her against me, don't you? You're overthinking it, President G. Shinmochan replied without a change in expression. I don't need to use a woman to deal with you. Those words undoubtedly hit Jishua where it hurt. Fine, just fine. Jishua pointed at me, then at Shinmochan. Susia, you just wait, you'll regret this. He spat out the threat, turned around, and scrambled into his car before speeding off. The whole farce had finally come to an end. 5. He won't let this go, Shinmochan said, watching the direction Jishua had left. I know, I said, rubbing my reddened wrist. Thank you, I'll walk you up. There was a certain hormonal tension in the elevator at the door. I thanked him again, but then he suddenly asked, does what he just said bother you? I paused for a moment before I realized which remark he was referring to. Using me to take him down, I smiled. Mr. Shin, do you really think I'm someone so easily manipulated? He also laughed. Not really, but, he paused, his gaze growing intense. What if I told you I really do intend to use you? I looked at him, saying nothing. I want to use you, he said, drawing closer until our breaths mingled. Stay by my side. His voice was deep and magnetic. My heart is racing, pounding out of control. In my past life, every beat of my heart was for Jishua alone, and now, this man before her. Just a few words. It threw me into a panic. I don't know how to react. He merely let out a smile and took a step back. Good night. He turned and walked away, leaving me with a graceful silhouette. I leaned against the door, and it took me a long time to calm down. Shinmochan, what exactly is he trying to do? Jishua was indeed nowhere to be seen in the following days, yet he made his presence known in another way. News of his acquisition of my father's company was splashed across the media. The reports painted him as a domineering yet devoted CEO. To win back a loved one, he was willing to spend a fortune, and so, I naturally became the woman who grew arrogant from favor and failed to appreciate kindness. For a moment, I became the laughingstock of the entire city. The way my coworkers looked at me changed. All sorts of rumors and gossip. That day, I was in my office going through some documents when Lin Man called. Sia, look at the trending topics. I opened Weibo. My name was sitting right at the top of the trending list. #Susia, the real-life gold digger hashtag. I clicked in and found a lengthy article. Posing as an insider, the article meticulously dissected my social climbing history. It claimed I came from an ordinary background and latched onto Jishua solely by relying on my pretty face. They accused me of being insatiably greedy, claiming that while I was with Jishua, I was also involved in inappropriate relationships with other men. They said I was cunning and calculating, alleging that in a desperate bid to force a marriage proposal, I even staged a dramatic rescue from a fire, but the plan backfired spectacularly. I ended up injuring myself and then had the nerve to turn around and blame Jishua for it. The article was written in vivid, sensational detail and was even accompanied by a few blurry photographs. One is a photo of me and Shinmochan at the entrance of the bar, one is a side profile photo of me in the hospital, with my head wrapped in bandages. There's another photo of me and Jishua, my smile bright as a flower, while he remains expressionless. This article went viral online in an instant. The comments section was utterly disgraceful. Damn, this woman is absolutely vile. She's the textbook definition of a gold-digging manipulator. I feel so bad for Mr. G. Getting tangled up with a woman like that is just the worst luck imaginable. She looks perfectly decent on the outside, so how can she be so rotten on the inside? Reading those vicious comments sent a chill right through me. I know this is the work of Jishua and Suyunshu. They're out to destroy me. In my past life, they ruined my looks and my dignity. In this life, they aim to ruin my reputation and my future. My grip on the phone tightened, my knuckles turning white. The office door was knocked on. Shinmochan walked in. He saw my ashen face and what was on the phone screen. His eyes instantly turned cold. Don't look at these. He snatched my phone away. It was them, I said, my voice trembling slightly. I know. He walked up to me, crouched down, and met my eyes. Sia, look at me. I lifted my gaze and met his fathomless eyes. Trust me, he said, I can handle it. His voice has a calming power. The panic and anger in my heart gradually subsided. I nodded. All right, I said, choosing to trust him. 6. Shinmochan moved swiftly. In less than half a day, the trending topic was taken down. That lengthy post was scrubbed from the entire internet immediately. After, the legal department of Shinmochan's company, acting on my behalf, sent cease and desist letters to the marketing accounts that first published the article and several bloggers who maliciously spread it. A series of moves, executed with fluid grace and decisive precision. The tide of public opinion online shifted rapidly. See, I told you there'd be a twist. The cost of spreading rumors is way too low these days. We stand with MS, Sue in defending her rights. Make those online trolls pay the price. Mr. Shin is such a boss. The way he stood up for his wife was epic. I'm totally here for it. Just hearing the phrase "stood up for his wife" made my cheeks flush. After work, Shinmochan asked me out to dinner. The venue was a very discreet French restaurant. Thank you, I said to him with genuine sincerity. I told you I'd take care of it, he said, elegantly cutting my steak. I just never thought Jijua would be so despicable. He's not despicable, Shinmochan said, pushing the plate of cut steak toward me. He's just afraid. He's afraid of losing you. Shinmochan looked up, his gaze intense as it met mine. That's why he resorted to such a childish and extreme method, trying to force you back to his side. I fell silent. Maybe Shinmochan is right. In my past life, Jijua was always on a high horse, treating me like a servant at his beck and call, because he was certain I couldn't live without him. But in this life, Jijua had lost that certainty. He's not himself anymore. Sia, Shinmochan suddenly spoke up. Do you still love him? I was stunned. Do I still love Jijua? I've never asked myself that question in my past life. I loved him so much that I would have died for him. That love was etched into my very soul, but that love died with the fire, the humiliation, the leap worn down to nothing. All that remained was hatred, a towering, all-consuming hatred. I don't love you anymore, I said, shaking my head, my voice resolute. I stopped loving you the moment I decided not to run into that fire. Shin-Machan smiled, as if a weight had been lifted from his shoulders. That's good. We enjoyed the meal very much. On my way back, I got a call from Lin Man. Sia, guess who I ran into today? Her voice was excited. Who's there? Su Yunshu. She actually tried to bribe me to set you up with Jijua, trying to create the illusion that you two are getting back together. I furrowed my brow. She also said she'd give me $1 million if I helped her. So what did you say? I gave her a piece of my mind, of course, and then threw my coffee in her face. Who does she think I am? Lin Man fumed. I couldn't help but laugh. Good for you. Exactly. But Sia, why do I get the feeling that this Su Yunshu is acting weird? How do you put it? The way she looked at me, the tone of her voice when she said those things. It was as if she already knew what was going to happen. She told me that Jijua would eventually come back to you, that the two of you were meant to be, and that Shinmochan was just a passing chapter in your story. My heart sank. Could it be that Su Yunshu has also been reborn? This thought struck my mind like a bolt of lightning. If she has been reborn too, then everything makes sense. That explains why she always knows exactly how to hit me where it hurts. Why does she always manage to perfectly ruin the last bit of warmth between Jijua and me? Why would she go to such lengths to tarnish my reputation and push me together with Jijua? Because she knew that in her past life, although Jijua was cold to me, but in the end, she still chose to get engaged to me. She couldn't accept it, so she came back from the dead, determined to take everything from me. She wanted Jijua to belong to her completely, and the best approach is to turn Jijua and me against each other first. Then she would appear in the guise of a savior, comforting Jijua and making him give up on me completely. What a clever tactical retreat. Su Yunshu, you are really something else. See you. Are you listening? Lin Man's voice pulled me back to reality. I'm listening. Are you okay? You seem a bit off. I'm fine. I took a deep breath to calm myself down. Man, thank you for telling me this. Hey, we're like family. After hanging up the phone, I looked out the window. The night is deep, just like my mood right now. 7. What's wrong? Shinmochan beside me noticed my unusual state. I hesitated for a moment, then decided to tell him my suspicion. Shinmochan, what if I told you that Jijua and Su Yunshu, just like me, have been reborn? Would you believe me? He froze. Then, a flicker of astonishment passed through his eyes, but calm was quickly restored. I believe you. His response was far calmer than I had expected. Why? Because of you. He looked at me, his gaze earnest. You're nothing like the Sia I've heard about. A person doesn't change that much unless they've been through something truly life-altering. I gave a bitter laugh. Exactly, having faced death once, how could anyone stay the same? He didn't press me about my past life. Instead, he reached out and gently covered my hand with his. Don't be afraid, he said. No matter what they try to do, I'll be right here with you. His hand was warm. With a dry palm, a surge of warmth flowed from the back of my hand, all the way into my heart. Shinmochan, I looked at him. Why are you being so kind to me? I've already asked this question once last time. He said it was to deal with Jijua this time. He fell silent for a long while, so long that I thought he wouldn't answer. Then, he finally spoke slowly, his voice low. Because, in my past life, I owed you. I snapped my head up, staring at him in disbelief. You, could it be that he too? Right, he said, as if reading my mind, nodding. I've been reborn too. My mind went completely blank. Jijua, Suyunshu, Shinmochan, all four of us have actually been reborn. What on earth is going on? Is the universe trying to make my life even more chaotic? I was there too, at Jijua's engagement party in our past life. Shinmochan's voice pulled me back from my shock. I saw Suyunsu rip off your wig, saw the Ji family mock you bitterly, and witnessed Jijua's cold indifference. I saw you walk away, dazed and lost. And then I followed. I saw you walk onto the rooftop, saw you leap down. His voice was soft, yet it struck my heart like a heavy hammer. So, he was there when I died. So, beyond all the mockery and indifference, there was another pair of eyes, silently watching over me. I tried to save you, but I was too late, he said, his voice thick with regret and anguish. The moment you fell, I don't know what I was thinking. I jumped in after you. I was completely stunned. He actually did that for me. So when I opened my eyes again and found myself back here, I swore to myself, never again in this lifetime will I let you come to harm. He looked at me, his eyes filled with an unyielding depth of affection and guilt. See you, I'm sorry, in our past life, I couldn't save you. This time, let me be the one to protect you. Okay, I could no longer hold back my tears, and they streamed down my face. I didn't know what to say. I could only nod vigorously. He pulled me into his arms and held me tightly, as if he were trying to blend me into his very bones and blood. Don't cry, he whispered in my ear. From now on, I'm here for you. I sobbed uncontrollably in his arms, crying for the foolishness and injustice of my past life, crying over the luck and emotion of my entire life. So, in my darkest hour, there's still someone willing to risk everything for me. Shinmochan, thank you for coming back here. 2-8 We learned each other's deepest secret. My relationship with Shinmochan grew much closer. We started going on dates like a real couple, going out for meals, watching movies. He remembers all my likes and dislikes. I don't eat cilantro. I love a hot Americano, and I'm allergic to mangoes. When it's that time of the month, he'll have brown sugar tea and a heating pad ready for me. He takes me to the amusement park, ride the carousel with me, the one I've always wanted to ride but never had anyone to share it with. These little, scattered kindnesses, like a warm, gentle net wrapping me up securely. My heart, which had been left battered and full of holes because of Jijua, I, too, was caught in this web, slowly finding healing within it. Meanwhile, Jijua and Suyunshu were far from idle. Seeing that the court of public opinion held no sway over me, they resorted to new tactics. Jijua started showing up in my life with alarming frequency. He would wait for me outside my office building, holding a huge bouquet of roses. He bribed the security guard at my apartment building to sneak upstairs and knock on my door. He showered me with all sorts of expensive gifts, jewelry, designer bags, sports cars, all the things I could never have in my past life. Now, he's offering them to me on a silver platter, but all I feel is disgust. I had security escort him out and instructed the front desk to refuse all his deliveries. I threw the gift he sent straight into the trash, unopened. The more he insists, the more I despise him. Meanwhile, Suyunsu continued to play her role as the understanding, innocent White Lotus figure. She would always show up right after Jijua got rejected by me, offering him comfort and company. She would post cryptic messages on her social media feed. Loving someone is so hard, seeing him hurt over another woman who doesn't deserve him breaks my heart too. It's okay, even if the whole world turns its back on you, I'll still be right here by your side. Her performance was a great success. Jijua seemed genuinely moved by her. They began appearing together at various public events. The media also started reporting on them. They said Jijua had finally seen the light and left the gold digger, Susia. He chose his kind childhood sweetheart, Suyunshu, online. Well wishes for them were pouring in. Lin Man called me, fuming. Sia, have you seen this? that despicable pair, Jihua and Su Yunshu, are practically becoming the nation's favorite couple now. It makes my blood boil, yet, I remained perfectly calm. Good, let them stay locked up and stop bothering others. Aren't you even a little bit angry? Why would I be angry? I'd be thrilled if they got married and were stuck together for all eternity. I genuinely don't care anymore. In my world, Shinmochan already exists. Jihua is nothing more than an insignificant part of my past. That day, Shinmochan took me to a business reception. At the reception, we inevitably ran into Jihua and Su Yunshu. Their eyes met, and sparks flew. Su Yunshu clung to Jihua's arm, beaming with delight. It's been a while. See you. Indeed, I said, linking arms with Shinmochan and smiling even more radiantly than her. It's a relief to see you and President Ji so deeply in love. Su Yunshu's smile froze for a moment. Jihua's gaze remained fixed on me, intense and inscrutable. Sia, he began, his voice hoarse. Can we talk in private? No, I refused outright. Shinmochan spoke up. Mr. Ji, can't you see C doesn't want to talk to you? Shinmochan, this is between her and me. Stay out of it. Jihua's tone was sharp and dismissive. Her business is my business, Shinmochan retorted, refusing to back down. The tension in the air became palpable. People nearby turned to look, their expressions a mix of curiosity and anticipation for the drama unfolding. Seeing the situation, Su Yunshu quickly stepped in to smooth things over. Brother Ji, let it go. Let's go over and say hello to Mr. Li. She tried to pull Jihua away, but he stood his ground, refusing to budge. He stared at me intently, his eyes bloodshot. Sia, do you have to be this heartless, cold-hearted? I let out a laugh as if I'd just heard the most absurd joke. Jihua, what right do you have to talk to me about being heartless? Back then, when your mother was berating me to my face, when your childhood friend humiliated me in public, where were you? And when I was lying in the hospital, fighting for my life, where were you then? He was left speechless by my question. Who are you trying to impress with this act of faux sincerity? Are you trying to move yourself, or are you just trying to make me sick? My words were like knives, stabbing deep into his heart. His face grew pale, inch by inch. Sia, I know I was wrong. Can you give me one more chance, please? He was practically pleading. Watching him in this pitiful state brought me no satisfaction whatsoever, only endless desolation. If I had known then what I know now, I wouldn't have done it. Jihua, I said, I've already given you a chance. The moment you chose to go to the observatory with Su Yunshu, the moment you chose to celebrate her birthday with her, the moment you chose to ignore my pain, you used up every chance I ever gave you. We're even now. No, he shook his head, his emotions spiraling out of control. You still owe me a life. I was stunned. In our past life, I was the one who pulled you from the fire. You owe me. I looked at him and suddenly understood. So that's what he's been hung up on all this time. He thinks I owe him a life, so it's only right that I go back to him. How ridiculous. Jihua, I said, enunciating each word clearly, I already gave that life back to you when I jumped from the 20th floor. His pupils contracted sharply. He seemed to have all the strength drained from his body. He staggered back a step. Su Yunshu quickly rushed to support him. Brother Ji, are you alright? I didn't look at them anymore. Taking Shinmochan's arm, I turned and walked away. Behind me, Jihua's agonized roar echoed, but I didn't look back, not even once. 9. After that cocktail party, Jihua seemed to have completely lost his mind. He began in a manner that bordered on destruction. To get back at me and Shinmochan, he used his connections with the Ji family to undermine Shinmochan's company at every turn, stealing our clients, poaching our employees, and spreading negative rumors about the company. Shinmochan's company was suddenly plunged into an unprecedented crisis. Shareholders grew uneasy, and the stock price continued to plummet. I know Jihua is trying to force Shinmochan to give up on me this way. He thought that without Shinmochan's protection, I'd be left with nowhere to turn. She had no choice but to return to his side. He's too naive. I took the initiative to approach Shinmochan and said, let me handle it. He looked at me, his eyes filled with concern, but more than that, with trust. Okay, I leveraged all my connections and resources to launch a counterattack. I once met many people through Jihua, and holds many secrets unknown to others. Now, all of these have become my sharpest weapons. I'll start by turning the core executives of Jihua company, obtained evidence of internal financial vulnerabilities and illicit transactions within their company. I then anonymously submitted this evidence to the Economic Crime Investigation Unit and the media. It was like a single stone causing 1,000 ripples. The G Group was instantly thrust into the eye of the storm. The tax authorities launched an investigation. Business partners terminated their contracts one after another. the stock price plummeted. Jijua is completely overwhelmed and has his hands full. He has no energy left to deal with us. The crisis at Shinmochan's company has been resolved. We won, and it was a decisive victory. At the victory banquet, everyone was in high spirits. Only Shinmochan remained deeply troubled. I pulled him out onto the balcony. What's wrong? Are you upset? He looked at me, his words caught in his throat. See you. Have you ever stopped to wonder why Jijua has suddenly become so unhinged? I was taken aback for a moment. Yeah, even if it's for revenge, his methods are far too extreme. It's practically a Pyrrhic victory. That's not something a sensible businessman would do at all. He seems to be afraid of something, Shinmochan said, or rather, he's racing against time with something. Racing against time. A bad feeling suddenly welled up in my heart. Just then, my phone rang. It was Lin Man. Her voice was choked with tears. Sia, something's wrong. Come quickly, Suyunshu, she's kidnapped your mom. My mind went blank with a sudden, deafening buzz. Suyunsu, how dare she? What did she say? My voice trembled. She said to go alone to the abandoned factory in the west of the city. Trade yourself for your mother. She also said, Lin Man choked. She said, this is something you owe her. She's going to make you taste the suffering she endured in her past life. Her past life. A dreadful thought began to take shape in my mind. How did Suyunshu die in her past life? I never cared to find out. All I know is that after my death, Jijua was utterly heartbroken. And then, what happened next? My memory just cuts off at the moment I jumped from the high-rise. Saya, Shinmochan grasped my cold hand. Don't be afraid, I'll go with you. No, I shook my head. She told me to go alone. I can't let you go on this adventure alone, Shinmochan, I said, meeting his gaze with unwavering resolve. This is a score between her and me. I have to settle it myself. And, I took a deep breath. I have a feeling, tonight, everything will come to an end. 10 An abandoned factory, dark and damp. The air was thick with the smell of rust and dust. I walked in alone. In the center of the factory, my mother was tied to a chair. A cloth was stuffed in her mouth. Her face was a mask of terror. Suyunshu stood beside her. A dagger was in her hand, pressed against my mother's neck. She saw me and laughed. It was a wild, twisted laugh. Susia, you're finally here. Let my mother go. I said coldly, let her go. Sure. Suyunshu patted my mother's cheek with the flat of the dagger blade. Get on your knees and beg me. I looked into my mother's tear-filled eyes, without a moment's hesitation. I knelt down. I'm begging you, let her go. Ha ha ha. Suyunshu roared with laughter, tears streaming from her eyes. Susia, you finally got what you deserve. Do you have any idea how long I've been waiting for this day? In my past life, you stole my brother G. This life, I've been reborn, and I swear, you will pay with blood for your debt. I want you to be abandoned by everyone, ruined and disgraced. I want you to taste what it's like to have nothing at all. She was agitated. The dagger in her hand traced a shallow cut across my mother's neck. My mother let out a muffled groan of pain. My heart ached as if pierced by a needle. Suyunshu, what do you want? Anyway, what do I want? She wiped the smile from her face, her eyes filled with venom. I want you dead. I'm going to make you stay here, bound just like I was in my past life, and burned to death, burned to death. I was stunned. What do you mean? You still don't know, do you? She smiled eerily. In our past life, after you jumped from that building, Brother G went mad. He believed you had caused your own death, so he tied me up here, set the place on fire, and forced me to be buried with you. He lit the fire with his own hands, then stood outside, watching coldly as I struggled, screamed, and was finally reduced to ashes in the sea of flames. He said, this is something I owe you. I stared at her in shock, utterly speechless. So that's how my previous life ended. Jijua, he actually, Su. Yunshu's eyes grew wild and obsessive. This time, I've come back. I'm going to make him make the same choice all over again, she said, pulling out her phone and dialing a number. Jijua's, Brother G. Her voice instantly turned fragile and helpless. Save me, Sister Sia and I have been kidnapped. We're at the abandoned factory in the west of the city. They're going to burn us alive. She hung up the phone and looked at me with a smug expression. Sia, tell me, this time, who will he come to save? I remained silent, for I already knew the answer. Before long, the factory gate was kicked open. Jijua burst into the room. He froze at the sight before him. Brother G, Suyunshu cried out. Jijua's gaze swept back and forth between me, my mother, and Suyunshu. His face was etched with a pain and anguish I had never seen before. Jijua, Suyunshu sobbed, come save me, quick, this place is going to blow. As she spoke, she pressed a button on the remote control in her hand. A Steady tick-tock echoed around the factory. It was a time bomb. Jijua. I finally spoke, my voice unnervingly calm. You should leave. He shot a sudden glance at me. Take my mother and go. What happens here is none of your concern. No, he roared. Sia, I'm not leaving. Brother Ji, Suyunshu shrieked. Come here. Have you forgotten how you treated me in our past life? You promised you'd make it up to me in this one. Jijua's body began to tremble violently. He looked at Suyunshu. Then at me. His eyes were bloodshot. Choose. Suyunshu screamed hysterically. Jijua, choose. Today, you can only take one of us. Time ticked by. Second by second, the ticking sound grew more urgent. Jijua's face was drenched in sweat, like rain pouring down. He looked at me, his lips parting as if he wanted to say something, but at that very moment, the factory's other door was smashed open from the outside. Shinmochan charged in, leading a large group of people. Sia. The moment he saw me, his eyes instantly turned fierce. His men quickly subdued the crazed Suyunshu and rescued my mother, and he immediately rushed to my side, pulling me tightly into his arms. It's okay, he kept reassuring me. I leaned against his chest, watching the desolate figure in the distance, a man who felt utterly abandoned by the world. Jijua. In the end, he still couldn't make a choice, or rather, the moment he hesitated, his choice was already made. He chose to give up. He gave up on me. He gave up on Suyunshu too. He didn't choose anyone. The bomb has been defused. Suyunshu was taken away by the police. The farce has finally come to an end. I looked at Jijua. He stood there alone like a solitary statue. Shinmochan put his arm around my shoulder and said softly, let's go. I gave a slight nod. The moment I turned, I heard Jijua behind me. He called my name in a voice tinged with desperation. Sia. I didn't look back. Goodbye, Jijua. No. It's goodbye forever. 11. I never saw Jijua again. Word has it that the G Group has been hit with massive fines for tax evasion and unfair competition practices. The penalties have dealt a severe blow, leaving the company reeling. Furthermore, Jijua is now under investigation. The case has been officially opened on suspicion of intentional assault. His life was utterly destroyed. Meanwhile, I was thriving at Shinmochan's company. Together, we propelled the company to new heights. 1 year later, Shinmochan proposed to me. Kneeling on one knee, he pulled out a ring woven from foxtail grass. Sia, he said, looking at me with a gaze that was sincere and fervent. In our past life, I missed you. In this one, I don't want to miss you again. Will you marry me? I smiled, tears streaming down my face. Okay, the end. That's all for the first story. Don't go away. The next one is even more exciting. My husband hands over his salary card to his mother-in-law. The old folks say young people spend money recklessly, so they save it for them, calling it compulsory savings. I immediately transferred this month's salary to my mom. We're all about staying neutral and balanced, and then, we'd go to my mother-in-law's for dinner every single day. 1. Honey, could you transfer me 200 yuan? The car's running on fumes. I need to fill up the tank soon, said my husband, Zhang Ming. I was a bit puzzled. Why is my husband asking me for money? If I remember correctly, he just got paid, didn't he? What's going on? We agreed he'd hand over his salary after marriage. I haven't even asked him for it yet, and now he's coming to me. Didn't you just get paid? What do you need money from me for? I asked, puzzled. My husband frowned, a hint of impatience in his voice. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I transferred my salary to my mom. We can't save money ourselves, so she's keeping it for us. I was thunderstruck. You transferred your entire salary to your mom? My husband looked a bit guilty, but then straightened up. Exactly, you're a civil servant with a stable salary. My mom says women should cover more of the household expenses. I mean, look at how freely you spend money. We can't live like that. I'm just trying to save for us. Don't worry, my mom won't touch this money. She'll give it back to us when we need it in the future. Think of it as forced savings. You know. I suppressed my anger and asked calmly, what about the 3,000 monthly mortgage and all the other household expenses? Am I supposed to cover it all? My husband blurted out, yeah, of course. We'll use your money. I did the math. You make almost 7,000 a month. If we tighten our belts a bit, it should be enough for both of us. I was trembling with rage. Zhang Ming, was all that talk before our wedding about handing over your salary and sharing the family responsibilities just empty words? Honey, don't be so crude. Do you think it was easy raising me? What's wrong with her helping us manage our money now? Don't go making trouble for no reason. Looking at his shameless behavior, I was almost amused by how infuriating he was too. Chen Ming and I met through a blind date. We just got our marriage certificate 2 months ago. I'm a civil servant, and he's a teacher. our combined monthly salaries, excluding housing funds, come to around 14,000. One would think life in a small county town could be quite comfortable, but the downside is that there's still a 3,000 yuan mortgage payment each month. That's a bit of pressure, so when my mom found out, she wasn't too keen on us dating. My husband's mother patted her chest and assured her, "Don't you worry about the mortgage, in-laws, Chen Ming's father and I will pay it for them. The young couple just needs to focus on their own life." It was only after hearing his mother's guarantee that my mom finally relented. After all, with no mortgage to worry about, both Chen Ming and I have stable jobs, and neither of our parents are a financial burden, so you could say we're well matched in terms of background. The wedding was settled then and there. Before we got married, my mom kept reminding me to take charge of the finances after we tied the knot and to be cautious. I didn't take it seriously at the time, still think my mom is too tacky. Looking back, I really wish I could go back and slap myself silly. You actually believed this family's nonsense before the wedding. As the saying goes, ginger gets spicier with age. My mom has seen more in life than I've eaten in meals, and sure enough, she was right. Would you believe it? We just got married, and not only is his family washing their hands of the mortgage, but my husband is even handing over his entire paycheck to his mother. What kind of nonsense is this? Isn't this just a blatant setup? But do they really think I'm just going to take this lying down in your dreams? 3. I let out a cold laugh. If you're so obedient to your mother, then what's the point of getting married? Why don't you just marry her instead? My harsh words made my husband's face darken. Wang Yan, how could you say that? My parents have had it tough too. I clapped my hands and laughed. Oh, you didn't realize your parents had it tough for the past 30 years, but you figure it out just after getting married. Marriage is truly a mystery. The moment a daughter-in-law steps through the door, the whole family, young and old, suddenly sees the light. Father-in-law has started to show more care for mother-in-law, and my husband listens to his mother even more now. Mother-in-law has also become more aware of her own aches and pains. Even the utilities at home are being charged now, and going out to buy groceries costs money too. I'm just wondering, did your daughter-in-law trigger your family's defense mechanism or something? After my outburst, my husband was a bit stunned. He mumbled, "You don't have to be so passive-aggressive. My mom's just worried we'll waste money. She's not spending it herself, she's just putting it aside for us. My mom only has our best interests at heart. Look at you, ordering takeout every day. Getting packages delivered. How are we supposed to save any money? Besides, she's my own mother. Do you really think she'd do anything to hurt us?" I couldn't help but laugh in frustration. I grabbed my husband and led him over to the pile of unopened delivery boxes in our house, opening them one by one. "All right then, let's see who all these packages are for. Shoes for the dog, a dumbbell for the dog, clothes for the dog. Since the dog doesn't speak human or act like one, we'll just return it all." My husband's face instantly looked like he'd just eaten something disgusting, because the open packages were all filled with things I had bought for him, and just like that, out of the blue, he became the dog. He thought he could use the delivery incident to completely manipulate me, but ended up getting his face metaphorically slapped instead. My husband's face flushed red and then turned pale. Finally, like a dead pig unfazed by scalding water, he said shamelessly, "Well, I've already transferred the money to my mom. What are you going to do about it?" For what could I possibly do? I looked at him and said, slowly enunciating each word, "Fine, since you hand your salary over to your mom, then I'll hand mine over to my mom too. After all, we agreed before we got married that we'd treat both sets of parents equally, right? We can't play favorites." My husband panicked when he heard that. "How can that be okay? We're married now. How can you just give your salary to your mom?" His hypocrisy made me laugh in disbelief. I shot back, "Why not? If you can give yours to your mom, why can't I give mine to mine? What, is your mom a mom and mine isn't? What's good for the goose isn't good for the gander, so your mom would never do you wrong, but mine is out to get me." Chen Ming, can you, a grown man, stop being such a hypocrite and have some shame? My husband was left speechless by my barrage of questions. After a long pause, he finally managed to say, "If we hand over both our salaries, what are we supposed to live on? How are we going to eat?" I took my husband by the arm and led him out to the balcony, where I stood completely still. My husband was terrified. He looked at me warily and said, "Why did you bring me out here? Are you trying to scare me by threatening to jump? Let me tell you, the money's already with my mom. Your usual tricks of crying, making a scene, or threatening suicide won't work on me." I shot him a contemptuous look at his pathetic state. "Don't flatter yourself, You asked what I'll eat from now on, right? This, I'll be dining on thin air. Thin air, you can eat that. My husband was left utterly dumbfounded by my words. It took him a moment to process it, and when he did, his expression darkened even further. I frowned. Of course, if you don't want to eat wind, there's another option. Starting tomorrow, I'll have to come to your place for every meal. My husband instinctively objected. Now that we're married, we can't keep going to my parents' place for meals. Isn't it wrong to keep relying on them like that? I grabbed the nearest cup and smashed it on the floor. If you can still hand your paycheck over to your mom after we're married, then why can't we go eat at your place? My husband was taken aback, his bravado instantly deflating. But we can't go there to eat every single day. What are you trying to say, Chen-Ming? You marry a wife. You marry a wife. Don't tell me your family can't even afford to support one, I demanded. My husband muttered, even if we eat at my mom's place, what about the mortgage? My name isn't even on the deed. That's not my problem. I didn't bother with further talk, pulled out my phone, and quickly transferred this month's salary to my mom, keeping just $500 for emergencies. My husband took one look and was absolutely furious. He thought I was just joking, but he never expected that I actually gave all my salary to my mom. He looked as if it pained him to part with it. I shot him a look. What are you standing around for? Call your mom and tell her we're coming for dinner tonight. 5 After work that evening, I headed straight to my mother-in-law's place. My mother-in-law was stunned. Well, she didn't make enough food for the two of us. Seeing us walk in, she complained, you should have told me you were coming. I didn't prepare anything for dinner. I could tell right away that my spineless husband thought my threat about eating at his parents' place every day was just an empty rant, so he never actually mentioned it to them. Little did he know, I was dead serious. As for the mother-in-law saying there's no food, haha, isn't there a roast chicken on the table? My mother-in-law is always putting on a show. Back when we used to go home, the table would always have her and my father-in-law eating plain noodles with pickled vegetables, or steamed buns with salted duck eggs. Anyone who didn't know better would think they'd time traveled back to the early days of the People's Republic. Don't ask. Asking means I'm saving money for you. Your dad and I are old now. We don't need much nutrition. We'll just eat whatever is fine. My clueless husband gets all teary-eyed and emotional every single time. I might have believed it. If my in-laws didn't weigh a combined 400 pounds, I picked up my chopsticks and, under my mother-in-law's pained gaze, put a chicken drumstick in my mouth. It's fine, Mom, this is plenty, but why aren't we having noodles and pickles this time? Looks like the family fortunes have really turned around. But Mom, I'm not really a fan of chicken. I prefer seafood. My mother-in-law looked absolutely pained, her face falling as she replied half-heartedly, all right then, next time you visit, I'll buy some sea cucumbers and abalone. I clapped my hands and said, great, Mom, we'll come back tomorrow for dinner. Don't forget to get some, oh, and I prefer my abalone braised in soy sauce. My mother-in-law's expression instantly froze. You're coming back tomorrow. I glanced at my husband. Didn't Chen-Ming tell you? Oh, honey, really? How could you not tell Mom about something this important? Well, since that's the case, I'll say it, Mom, we'll be coming over for dinner every day from now on, to keep you two company as well. My mother-in-law's spoon clattered onto the table. What do you mean, coming over for dinner every day? I said plaintively. Chen-Ming gave his salary card to you, and I gave mine to my mom. We don't have a penny between us. If we don't eat here, where else are we supposed to go? My mother-in-law was stunned, then shrieked, you gave your salary to your mother. That's unacceptable. I sneered inwardly. Sure enough, mother and son, speaking in the same tone. So you can do it, but no one else can, right? I smiled and said, yeah, my mom says we young people just can't manage money. We never save anything, so she's saving it for us. It's like forced saving. Really, I returned those words to him exactly as they were. 6 After hearing my words, my mother-in-law shot up from her seat, nearly dropping her bowl and chopsticks. Son, your wife doesn't know what's right, and you're going along with her nonsense. You've already given the money to your mother-in-law. Do you two even want to keep living together? I leisurely wiped my mouth and said, Mom, you can't put it that way. How can this be called being unreasonable? This is clearly being considerate. You see, Chen-Ming's salary is also kept by you, so why can't my salary be kept by my mom? What's this? The magistrates are free to burn down houses, while the common people are forbidden even to light their lamps. You're being utterly unreasonable. Ever since I met Chen-Ming, I had always been respectful and polite to my mother-in-law. I had never spoken to her in this tone before. She was clearly at her wit's end and shouted at the top of her voice, "What about the mortgage? What about the household expenses? You two can't just live on air, can you?" I feigned surprise and said, "Mom, what are you talking about? What mortgage? Didn't you say in front of my parents before we got married that you'd take care of the mortgage? It's only been 2 months since we got married. Surely you're not going back on your word now." Could I have misremembered? Maybe I should call my parents to check. My mother-in-law stammered, "Such a small matter. No need to bring it up with your parents, right?" I did say that at the time, but it was only because I thought you young people need a little pressure. Pressure is what drives you forward. Otherwise, the little money you earn each day wouldn't even be enough for you to squander carelessly. I let out a soft "oh," then said, "So I wasn't mistaken after all. That means I'll have to keep troubling you both with the mortgage. Even if someone doesn't have much education, they should at least keep their word, right? Otherwise, what kind of person are they?" "Honey, please don't make a scene, we're all family. What am I making a fuss about?" I yanked my hand away, my voice suddenly rising. "What did you say before we got married? That you'd hand over your salary card and we'd live well together, and now look at the result. You folks really know how to play the angles." 7. My husband stayed silent, but my mother-in-law suddenly covered her face and let out a wail. "Oh, heavens, what did I do to deserve a daughter-in-law like this?" She seemed so quiet and gentle before the wedding. What happened after she married into the family? What scheming are you talking about? We're family. How can you say such hurtful things? I had nothing but good intentions. It's like my kindness is thrown back in my face. Old man, say something, will you? My father-in-law, who had been silently focusing on his meal, finally perked up. He slammed his chopsticks down and glared at me. "What kind of behavior is this? Since when does a daughter-in-law speak to her elders like that? Once you married into this family, you became one of us. Go to your mother's place right now and get that money back." "Exactly," my mother-in-law said. "When I married Chen Ming's father, I never handled the money either. It was always Chen Ming's grandmother who managed it. Since we're past pretending to be civil, I won't hold back either," I sneered. "How could you possibly compare yourself to me? You've lived for decades as nothing more than a bed warmer. You've never held a job, clinging to your husband your entire life. Besides popping out a child, what else do you have to show for yourself?" Hearing my words, my mother-in-law was so angry her nose nearly turned sideways. "She's been acting like a queen bee at home, calling all the shots. My husband and son have always coddled and indulged her, doing whatever she wanted. No one else has ever made her lose face like I did." This also led to her lacking a clear sense of self-identity. "I really think I'm quite capable, able to call all the shots now." "You still think you can call the shots for me in your dreams? Of course, I'm not being unreasonable," I said with a cold laugh. "Give Chen Ming's salary back, and I'll get the money back from my mother right away." As if I believed she'd ever give back what she'd already got her hands on. Sure enough, my mother-in-law's sobbing came to an abrupt stop. "No way, you're spending money recklessly. I have to save it for you." I shrugged. "Well, if that's the case, there's nothing more to say, Mom. Don't forget to buy abalone tomorrow." After finishing my meal, I pushed the bowl and chopsticks aside and got up to leave. On the way out, he casually grabbed a bag of cantaloupe from the coffee table in the living room. "Mom, we'll take this fruit home to eat. It's perfect timing since we're out of fruit at home. Next time, don't buy muskmelons. They're all treated with growth enhancers. I prefer apples instead." Yentai Red Fuji. "Don't get the wrong kind." My mother-in-law's face turned ashen. 8. The next day, I dragged my husband to my mother-in-law's house right on time. The moment my mother-in-law saw me, her face fell longer than a donkey's. The dishes clattered onto the table, and when I looked, I couldn't help but laugh. The whole spread was a sea of green. Anyone who didn't know better would think this was a reminder for someone to wear a green hat. I started eating, indifferent to it all. My husband frowned, glanced at my mother-in-law again, and held his tongue. I laughed. "My husband is a true carnivore. He feels completely off if there's no meat in a meal. Making him eat vegetables every day would be worse than killing him." I used to feel so sorry for him, always making sure every meal had either meat or seafood. Now, whether you eat or not, it's none of my business. Of course, as for me, it's perfect for my diet. Some leafy greens are just what I need. Trying to kick me out with that move. Wishful thinking. After dinner, I wandered around the living room. What a shame, there was no fruit today. A smug look spread across my mother-in-law's face. I sighed with regret. "Well, looks like I'll just have to take that case of yogurt." I was about to leave, carrying the box of mushy from the living room. The mother-in-law's face turned pale again. You're taking the yogurt too. You're robbing us old folks every day, aren't you? Don't you feel ashamed? I shrugged, hands spread wide. What can I do? We've already given you all the money. Where are we supposed to get the cash for? Yogurt. Besides, experts say too much yogurt isn't good for senior stomachs. I'm doing this for your own good. Mother-in-law was once again so angry she was at a loss for words. 9 A few more days passed. The vegetables aren't the only things turning green. Her husband's face turned green too. Finally, when my mother-in-law brought out yet another round of vegetable dishes, my husband lost his temper. Mom, why is it just vegetables every single meal? Who can even eat this? The mother-in-law smiled apologetically. You silly child, meat is so expensive these days. Besides, it's better to eat more vegetables. She gave her husband a meaningful glance. Husband understood without being told. Shut up. He said nothing more. I merely smiled without a word. The next day, my husband said he was going on a business trip and wouldn't be home for dinner for the next few days. I went to my mother-in-law's house by myself. Perfect. There wasn't even a single green vegetable in sight. On the table sat a bowl of plain boiled noodles and a dish of pickled red vegetables. Chenming isn't here either. We'll just have to make do with this today. Not bad at all, the mother-in-law said, a flicker of satisfaction in her eyes. She doesn't actually think she can push me back like this, does she? I didn't say a word. Pick up my phone and call my usual restaurant, asking them to deliver an extra large serving of spicy crayfish since I eat there so often. The owner and I are practically old friends by now. I transferred the money directly to the boss and specifically instructed him to ask my mother-in-law for another payment. If we can get the money, he can have it all. The boss was over the moon. Could this really be true? He eagerly agreed. 10 The boss was highly efficient. Less than half an hour later, there was a knock on the door. The grandmother went to open the door. We didn't order crayfish. You've delivered it to the wrong place. I don't care. It was your order, and the address is correct, the boss said loudly. I hurried out and said, Mom, I ordered the crayfish. Yes, you can pay them now. The mother-in-law raised her voice. Why should I pay for something you ordered? You're such a spendthrift. Do you know how much this costs? The one who ordered it should pay. I threw my hands up. I'd love to give it to you, Mom, but I don't have any money. Isn't my pay card with you? The mother-in-law just won't take the money. The boss scowled. I don't care which one of you pays. The food was delivered to your house, so someone has to pay. Did you think you could just walk out on the bill? The mother-in-law snapped. Whoever set the price, go ask them for the money. She's the one who decided it. Why are you coming to me for money? I dropped to the floor by the door, wailing and sobbing. Uncles, aunts, elders, please come and judge this for me. At my in-laws' house, I never get enough to eat, and now I'm even scolded for ordering takeout. Why must I suffer so? My in-laws live in a residential compound built for employees of my husband's father's workplace. Their neighbors are all former colleagues of my father-in-law, and they love nothing more than gossiping about others and laughing at other people's misfortunes. Next door, Uncle Wang, who used to be the section chief in my father-in-law's office before retirement, came out upon hearing the noise and said, Mrs. Chen, you're a grown woman. How can you still let your in-laws pay for your takeout? That's not right for young people. Wiping away my tears, I said, Uncle Wang, you don't understand. My husband gave his salary card to my mother-in-law. We have no money left for food, so we have to come here to eat. My husband's been away on a business trip, and my mother-in-law has been feeding me nothing but pickles and plain noodles. I couldn't take it anymore, so I ordered some takeout. But she's got my husband's salary card. Where on earth am I supposed to get the money from? I was crying my eyes out, absolutely miserable. What? Your husband's salary card is with your mother-in-law? Oh, for heaven's sake, what kind of nonsense is that? I've never heard of such a thing in our whole neighborhood. Are you serious? This was from Auntie Zhang on the second floor, the neighborhood's biggest gossip. I nodded frantically, like a chicken pecking at rice. I swear on my life, it's true. We have no money for food, so we have to eat at my in-laws, and every single day, she gives me pickles and noodles. Oh my goodness. This is just too much. What kind of family is this? Isn't this the so-called mama's boy? Said Granny Son from the opposite unit. I gave Granny Son a mental thumbs up. The key point is, you took his salary card and still feed him nothing but pickled vegetables every day. Mrs. Chen Ming's mother. That's not right, is it? You're ruining our neighborhood's reputation, said Grandpa Chen from the third floor. Hearing the pointed remarks from their former colleagues, the in-laws were dumbstruck, and my father-in-law is the most concerned about saving face. How could anyone stand this? He glared at my mother-in-law and shouted, "Hurry up and pay. Do you want to make things even more embarrassing?" My mother-in-law glared at me in resentment, then reluctantly handed the money to the shopkeeper. The boss gave me a discreet thumbs up. Back in the room, I set the whole plate of crayfish right in front of me and dug in with relish. As for the in-laws' expressions, let's just say it was absolutely thrilling, and just like that, I started ordering crawfish one day and roast duck the next. If they didn't pay up, I'd make a scene. My mother-in-law finally got the message and never dared to fob me off with noodles and pickles again. Fresh green vegetables were back on the table. My husband, who had been away on a business trip, finally came home after eating nothing but greens day in and day out. He couldn't take it anymore. Finally, after my mother-in-law served yet another table full of leafy greens, my husband protested, "Mom, could you make some meat dishes? Nothing but vegetables every day. I'm starting to turn into one myself." My mother-in-law agreed, her expression sour. 11. The next day, she excitedly brought home a large slab of pork ribs and huddled in the kitchen with my father-in-law, whispering, "Old man, let me tell you, we got a steal here. This pig supposedly died from the heat, so the meat's cheap, half the usual price." Grandpa frowned. "How do you know it died from the heat? Could it have been a sick pig? Eating sick pork can make you ill." Patting her chest, my mother-in-law assured me, "Don't worry, it's absolutely fine. I've asked about every detail." The father-in-law said nothing more. That very evening, my mother-in-law stewed a huge pot of pork rib soup. My husband happily ate bowl after bowl. I claimed I had no appetite and didn't touch a bite, and of course, nobody cared whether I ate or not. In my mother-in-law's eyes, it's best if I don't eat. My husband is eating with great satisfaction. After finishing the meal, he let out a satisfied burp and said to me, "So, honey, my mom's pretty good at managing money, don't you think? You're just being overly suspicious again. It's my own mom. How could she possibly harm me? This pork rib soup is absolutely delicious today. I can't believe you're not having any. Are you giving me the silent treatment? Ha, suit yourself. It's not me who'll go hungry." Husband settled down comfortably, looking pleased. In the middle of the night, he suddenly broke out in a cold sweat, rushing to the bathroom repeatedly, diarrhea leaving him nearly collapsed. I laughed and said, "Oh, looks like this meat is really delicious. Honey, you should have some more." My husband didn't say a word, and my in-laws weren't much better. I heard the two of them almost came to blows over who got to use the bathroom first. When my husband found out it was the bad pork my mother-in-law bought that gave him such a bad case of diarrhea, he flew into a rage. After the blow-up with his mom, he pulled me aside and said, "Honey, maybe I should get my salary card back and we should just eat at home. I miss your cooking." I sneered inwardly. "What, you actually want to eat it or something?" Back then, I used to cook all sorts of delicious meals for him, changing it up every day. The fish and shrimp were all bought fresh. Eat whatever fruit is expensive. So now you want the salary card back? Too late. I frowned and said, "No way, I really don't want to cook. I think eating at my parents' place is just fine." My husband's face fell. I ignored him and fiddled with my phone. I immediately sent a 200 yuan red packet to Auntie Zhang from the unit opposite my mother-in-law's to thank her. Yes, I deliberately had her leak the information about the sick pork to my mother-in-law. I don't think this is my fault. After all, my plan wouldn't have succeeded if my mother-in-law hadn't been so eager for small gains. 12. Due to the tainted pork incident, my husband developed some resentment toward his mother, treating her with cold indifference, like she was invisible. But that day, my husband came home from work in high spirits, and all the recent discontent simply melted away. Our principal spoke to me today. The dean of students is retiring, and the principal wants to recommend me to the higher-ups to take over the position. My husband's face was full of anticipation. He's been working diligently for several years now without a promotion, so naturally, he was thrilled to finally have this opportunity. And just like that, the resentment from the spoiled pork incident a few days ago vanished into thin air. My mother-in-law was overjoyed too. "That's wonderful, son. I always knew you were the best. See, I told you so, didn't I?" Hearing that her son was getting a promotion, my mother-in-law seemed to stand a little taller. She looked at me with a faint, smug smile. "My boy is really going places now, not like some people who've been stuck in the same lowly position for years." A word of advice: behave yourself. If you don't be surprised if my son leaves you and finds someone better. I raised an eyebrow but said nothing. My husband cleared his throat. "Mom, give me 10,000 yuan, I'll buy some good wine and cigarettes to give to the boss. Teacher Young from the next office has been eyeing this position for ages. We need to act fast." My mother-in-law's voice suddenly rose sharply. What? 10,000, how can it be that much? My husband said. It's not that much, just 2 bottles of Maotai and 2 packs of Zhonghua, and it's gone. Besides, once I become the academic dean, do you think I'll still worry about not being able to come back? The mother-in-law's eyes flicked to the side. All right, son, leave this to me. I'll take care of it for you. Just cigarettes and alcohol, right? No problem. My husband looked skeptical. Mom, this is no joking matter. Are you sure you can handle it? You can't mess this up. It could affect my entire career. The mother-in-law patted her chest and said, Don't worry, son, can I really screw you over? I'm your mom. Unlike some people, I kept my composure and focused on eating my meal. Don't I know that, old woman? Just you wait. My husband's surprise is yet to come. 13. The next day, my mother-in-law handed my husband a gift bag. He opened it to find 2 bottles of premium 52 proof Matai and 2 cartons of soft-packed Chunghwa cigarettes. Everything looked fine. Husband happily carried it to work. After returning, he began dreaming of a promotion. During those days, my husband started raising his voice when speaking to me. I scoffed inwardly. He's getting a big head before he's even been promoted. If he actually gets the promotion, his ego won't fit on the planet. Let's see how long you can keep this up. Sure enough, a few days later, my husband came home from work looking as dejected as a rooster that had lost a fight. On the way to my mother-in-law's for dinner, she complained to me. I don't know what happened. It was clearly agreed that I would be the head teacher, but today they announced it's that old Yang. I even sent the gift, and our principal hasn't given me a single decent look these past few days, even scolding me right in front of the students without a shred of respect. After accepting my gift, to treat me like this, what a piece of work. I didn't say a word, just sneered inwardly. This one, you'd better ask your dear mom about. 14. I secretly took pleasure in their misfortune, but still offered a few words of hollow comfort. At the mother-in-law's doorstep, my husband was just about to knock when he heard her chatting with her old friend. Her voice carried through the iron door with remarkable force. My Chen Ming is getting a promotion in the next few days, and his salary will go up quite a bit. The other day, he asked me for money to buy a gift. Can you believe it? 10,000 yuan, what a waste. You know what clever idea I came up with? My old friend asked. Did you buy 2 bottles of fake wine? Buy fake wine? That would have given the whole game away. Do you think I'm that stupid? She said with a smug grin. Let me tell you, I spent 60 yuan on 2 empty bottles and filled them up with some cheap erguo too. That's a genuine bottle, and it's from a 7-year-old vintage. Even if they inspected it, they wouldn't be able to tell it's fake. Pretty clever, huh? Her old friend gasped. Oh my goodness, you're something else. But what if someone can taste that it's fake? The mother-in-law said dismissively. Impossible. It's all baijiu anyway. What's the difference? They won't know. Those people who drink expensive liquor are just doing it for show. Let me tell you, once my Chen Ming gets that promotion, I'm going to make him trade in his wife right away. The one he has now is just so. My husband was trembling with rage outside the door. His face turned a deep, purplish red. It never crossed his mind that his failure to get the promotion was all because of his mother-in-law's little stunt. Counterfeit liquor. No wonder the principal looked at him with such disapproval in his eyes. Before I could even process what was happening, my husband kicked the door open and yelled at my mother-in-law. Mom, do you have any idea what you've done? The two inside the room were startled. The mother-in-law looked utterly bewildered and said with displeasure, What's gotten into you? You just got home from work. What am I supposed to be crazy about? You've ruined my job. I'm not getting promoted this time. Why did you make fake wine? Looking guilty, the mother-in-law denied. Fake wine? I have no idea what you're talking about. Stop pretending. I heard everything just now. Her old friend saw things weren't looking good, grabbed her bag, and slipped away quietly. My husband and mother-in-law had a huge fight. My career is over, my husband wailed, burying his head in his hands. My mother-in-law sat there in a daze. I sat to the side, admiring my freshly done nails, feeling quite pleased with myself. Old Jean, the scrap collector, did a pretty good job. Thanks to him, I was able to sell the empty bottles I collected to the old lady without a hitch. I'll just buy him a carton of cigarettes tomorrow. 15. After the promotion at work fell through, my husband gave the old lady the cold shoulder for days and demanded her mother-in-law return the salary card in no uncertain terms. But then again, you have to hand it to the mother-in-law. She was no pushover. She pulled out all the stops, the waterworks, the hysterics, the emotional blackmail, every guilt-tripping trick in the book. My husband's resolve crumbled again, right back under her thumb. He mumbled sheepishly to me, My mom didn't mean any harm. She's just been poor for so long it's left her a bit, set in her ways. She's my mom, after all. She didn't mean to hurt me. I gave a cold smile and said nothing. Whatever makes you happy. Maybe even heaven couldn't bear to watch anymore. Before I could come up with a new plan, my husband got into trouble. I was at work that day when I got a call saying my husband had been in a car accident and was being treated in the hospital. When I arrived at the hospital, my husband was sitting in a wheelchair. The upper body appears to be fine, but one leg is bleeding, likely a fracture, but there's no immediate danger to life. Seeing me arrive, my husband visibly relaxed. Honey, you're finally here. Could you go and take care of the payment first? I threw my hands up. Honey, I can't pay it, don't you remember? I have no money. You gave your salary card to your mom. I gave mine to my mom. I've only got $200 left. After saying that, I looked at the doctor in confusion. Doctor, 200 yuan isn't enough, is it? The doctors and nurses were stunned. I've probably never seen anything like this before. My husband was stunned, and for the first time, I saw a flicker of regret in his eyes. Just then, my in-laws arrived. Seeing my husband in that state, my mother-in-law rushed over and burst into tears. My husband cut her off. Mom, you're just in time. Could you go and pay the bill first? My mother-in-law's eyes darted away, and she mumbled something incoherently. A sense of foreboding rose in my husband's heart. Just as expected, my mother-in-law spoke up. I don't have any money, dear. My husband was on the verge of a breakdown. But I give you my entire salary every month. Where did it all go? His mother replied, I put it all into investments. My husband was utterly bewildered. Investments? What investments? A few days ago, a store gave out free eggs and invited us to a lecture. I put all my money into it, but now the people are nowhere to be found. Son, I've been scammed. The mother-in-law was sobbing uncontrollably. Now I understand why we had so many eggs at home. Turns out we got them from attending that lecture. Haha. Deserved it. My husband was trembling with rage, unable to utter a single word. The in-laws started calling relatives and friends, and eventually managed to borrow 20,000 yuan from somewhere, barely covering the surgery fees. The mother-in-law, trying to win her husband's favor, would come to the hospital every day with different varieties of chicken soup and spare rib soup to care for him. Husband's patience is running out again. I thought that was the end of it, but I guess fate had other ideas. Then, something else went wrong. 16 that day, my mother-in-law came out of the doctor's office looking panicked and told my husband he had cancer. The doctor said the conservative estimate is around 500,000 to 600,000. Her husband looked like he'd been struck by lightning. After wailing and sobbing bitterly, the mother-in-law said, My son, maybe we should just stop the treatment. Where am I going to find so much money? My own mother. My husband said through gritted teeth, I give you my salary every month, and now you're telling me you won't get treatment. The mother-in-law frowned, saying, Even if I were your real mother, I'd still have to say this, your condition can't be cured. You'll lose both your health and your money. What am I supposed to do then, with your father? How are we supposed to take care of ourselves in old age? Son, you can't be so selfish. Let's just say our mother-son bond wasn't meant to be. My husband's eyes were filled with resentment. His mother didn't even bother. What trouble could a dying man possibly stir up? She and his father simply stopped coming to the hospital altogether, abandoned by his family. My husband's face turned ashen, and then, another surprise. It turns out my husband doesn't have cancer. My mother-in-law misread the medical report. She was looking at someone else's. Aside from the broken leg from the car accident, my husband is perfectly fine. He's in fantastic health. Surprise, surprise. Can you believe it? I swear on my life, I had nothing to do with this. I don't have that kind of pull at the hospital. I guess you could say even heaven couldn't stand by and watch anymore. My husband is over the moon. It's like he's got a whole new lease on life. It doesn't bother me. Widow isn't exactly a pleasant title, after all, and the mother-in-law was stunned. It's too late to pretend we're still mother and son. 17 After being discharged from the hospital, my husband came to his senses and firmly demanded his salary card back from his mother. My mother-in-law threw herself on the floor, kicking and screaming, refusing to hand it over. Mom, think carefully. If you don't give it to me, I can just get a replacement card. After that, our mother-son relationship ends here. Don't worry, I'll still give you the basic living expenses every month. For once, my husband stood his ground. My mother-in-law was stunned and obediently took out the card. My husband turned and handed me the card. Honey, I regret everything. Let's make this work. From now on, I'm giving you my salary card. My husband held out his salary card to me. He thought I would be overjoyed to take it, but I didn't answer. Rather than believing in the idea that a prodigal Son's return is worth more than gold. I'd rather trust that one act of disloyalty means he's no longer trustworthy for life. From the very beginning of our marriage, he was full of calculations toward me, to be sure. The mother-in-law's instigation and encouragement played a part in this. Ultimately, it all comes down to who he is as a person. Even if someone like him has a change of heart this time, it's not out of genuine remorse, but because his own interests were threatened. Genetic inheritance is a frightening thing, at his core. He's just as selfish and calculating as his mother. Life is so long. If I continue with someone like him, how could I ever trust him to have my back when a real crisis hits? A marriage without trust is a marriage not worth having. Keep your paycheck. I don't need it. Let's meet at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow at 8. My husband's face turned ashen. I turned and walked away. My best days are yet to come. Story 2. I went to have a meal at my mother's best friend's house, and her son was my ex-boyfriend. I pretended not to know him and kept my head down, scrolling through videos. The first video I clicked on was, How to Attract the Attention of Your Ex-Boyfriend. I watched it 8 times, and since I wasn't interested, I swiped it away decisively. The next video was by Dr. Su Chow. Can a guy still get an erection after drinking? That's when I realized there was no sound coming from my earphones, so I turned up the volume vigorously. The next second, the man sitting at the other end of the sofa took off his earphones with a disgruntled look on his face and said to me, Yes, he can even after drinking. Stop watching me, ex-girlfriend, you're connected to my earphones. For case sake, in the evening, my parents didn't plan to cook at home and decided to eat out. I seemed to be writing my thesis seriously in my room, but in fact, I had my ears perked up, waiting for them to knock on the door and call me. But even when I heard the sound of the key unlocking the door, no one came to call me. I couldn't sit still anymore. Without even putting on my slippers, I dashed out and stopped them, saying, Mom and Dad, where are you going? To have a meal, I reminded them euphemistically. Well, don't you think something is missing? My mother looked around and asked in confusion, What's missing? I kept pointing at myself with my hand and quickly said, It's me. You're going out for a meal and you don't plan to take me with you. Aren't you busy writing your thesis? I'm almost done. I wrote 3,000 words yesterday and 4,000 words today. I was lying. In reality, I wrote 3,000 words yesterday and deleted 4,000 words today. After 2 days of hard work, I'm still 1,000 words short. It's another day that makes my supervisor unable to hold his head up in the academic circle. My father thought for a moment and asked me again, Are you sure? School starts tomorrow. Do you really dare to go if you don't finish your thesis? What's there to be afraid of about having a meal? It's not like we're going to my supervisor's house to eat. After I said that, my parents looked at each other, afraid that they would change their minds. I quickly put on my shoes, rushed out of the house, got into the car, and fastened my seat belt. They had no choice but to take me with them. I didn't have to rack my brains to produce academic garbage to pollute the environment. For the time being, I was in a wonderful mood all the way, shaking my head and humming a little tune, listening to the 2 people in the front seat chatting. They talked one after another. I roughly learned that they were going to have a meal at an old best friend's house of my mother's whom she hadn't seen for years, and my father and the old best friend's husband were also college classmates. This kind of fate is even more amazing than that in Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. My mother said that her old best friend had a son who took after his mother and was really handsome. Speaking of this, she suddenly pointed at me. Your aunt's son just graduated with a doctorate this year. He's in the same major as you. If you encounter any problems with your thesis, you can ask him for advice. My father interrupted, TSK. It seems that his father intends to let his son inherit his mantle and become a teacher. My mother replied, Well, his talent won't be wasted at all. Yeah, he's really excellent. As they said this, the 2 of them looked at each other strangely. Then they looked at me in the rearview mirror of the car. I had just gathered the melon seeds I had peeled in my palm and threw them into my mouth in one go. When I looked up, I felt those 2 prickly gazes. My mother was the first to look away. Forget it, I don't think they have any chemistry. When I heard this, I almost choked on the melon seeds. Were they trying to match me with someone else? I haven't even met him, and I don't want it. So I quickly nodded, yes, I'm not worthy of him. I'm just a poor postgraduate student who has a full range of negative effects on society, has an abstract future, and can't write my thesis. My mother turned around and looked at me steadily. I thought you didn't know why we didn't take you with us tonight. I was so angry with this couple that I didn't want to talk. The destination was a villa area. During the short walk after getting out of the car, I walked behind them in a fit of pique. Keeping a distance of more than 10 meters, they didn't care about me either and walked forward hand in hand affectionately. When I realized it, they were already knocking on someone else's door. Then I quickly quickened my pace and walked over. After a while, the door opened. It was getting dark. From a distance, I could vaguely see that the person who opened the door was a tall, fair, and handsome guy. What, this extremely good-looking guy? And you're telling me he's a PhD in science and engineering? I was both afraid that my parents would leave me behind. Once they went in and eager to see the guy's face clearly, I changed from a quick walk to a run. Finally, I caught up with them and let out a sigh of relief. I put one hand on my waist and lowered my head to wipe the sweat. Who is this? The guy's clear and mellow voice sounded, obviously asking about me. This voice somehow sounded familiar. I looked up curiously, just one glance, and I quickly buried my head again. I hate why the sky couldn't be darker. After hating the sky, I hated myself even more for being so greedy and insisting on coming out for a meal. He must have also seen clearly who I was. I didn't say anything. Seeing this, my father introduced me. This is our daughter, Xia Tingyi. You two are from the same university. She's currently in her second year of postgraduate studies. Come on, this is your Uncle Zhou's son, Zhou Jiayan. I really wanted to say, Dad, there's no need to introduce me in such detail. After all, when we were the closest, we even knew clearly how many moles each other had and which one was the most sensitive. We were clearly a good match, but neither of us was an easy person. He spoke in a mean way, and I spoke in a provoking way. I can't remember which trivial matter it was because of, but we had a big fight. In a fit of anger, I directly proposed to break up, and he nodded in agreement, slammed the door, and we broke up. Now he is my ex-boyfriend. Oh, so you're Xia Ting-yi. He deliberately elongated the sounds of oh and ah, and his tone was extremely sarcastic. The words to scold him were on the tip of my tongue. I glared at him and gritted my teeth to hold back. Do you two know each other? My mother saw my strange expression and heard Zhou Jiayan speak like that. Her suspicious eyes scanned back and forth between me and him. Do you really know each other? Have you met before? I still chose to remain silent. I also hoped that Zhou Jiayan wouldn't be mean and reveal our relationship. Just as I was feeling uneasy, a loud and resounding baritone voice came from inside the house, getting closer and closer. What, Xia Tingyi, why are you here? Weren't you supposed to be writing your thesis? I couldn't take it anymore. It turned out to be my supervisor's voice. Just 5 minutes ago, Professor Zhou sent me a message. Student Xia, after a whole vacation, will I ever have the chance to read the first draft of your thesis in my lifetime? Of course, I couldn't let my kind and amiable supervisor down, so I quickly sent him a photo of my desk piled high with reference books, which I had taken as a pose at home. I confidently perfunctorily replied, look, I didn't go anywhere today. I haven't even had dinner yet. I've been burying myself in writing. It's obvious that I'll submit the first draft this week and become a rising star in the academic circle next week. He didn't say anything, just kept sending me the death smile emoji. At this moment, seeing me standing at his door, he even put the death smile directly on his face. The 50-something-year-old man was holding a green onion, pointing at me with a look of hating iron for not becoming steel. Gnashing his teeth, he looked like he wanted to scold me, but because my parents were present and his wife was calling him to quickly crush the ginger and garlic, he held back his words again and again, and angrily went into the house. Zhou Jiayan watched the commotion from the side, raised a sinister smile, and answered the question my mother had asked earlier. He had a hidden malicious intent in his smile. Student Xia is my father's favorite student. I often hear him mention her at home, so I have a deep impression of her. Me, I think there's nothing more embarrassing in this world than having my ex-boyfriend be my supervisor's son. I was really so embarrassed that I felt like I was losing my mind. At that moment, I felt that my postgraduate life was about to go off the rails because I felt ashamed. As soon as I entered the house, I stuck closely to my mother, being extremely dependent on her. Zhou Jiayan poured tea for us. I buried my head behind my mother. She thought I was shy, so she pulled my head out and even encouraged me to speak. Your brother poured tea for you. What do you want to say? I took a deep breath, forced a fake smile, and said to him, thank you. My mother put on a serious face and coughed lightly. I immediately became timid and changed my words. Thank you, brother. Upon hearing this, Zhou Jiayan smiled inexplicably, nodded, and said, you're welcome, sister. He deliberately emphasized the word sister and gave me a deep look after saying it. After taking only a couple of sips of tea, my mother couldn't sit still anymore and wanted to go chat with her old best friend, my father, and Professor Zhou also hadn't seen each other for a long time, so they got together to catch up in an instant. Only Zhou Jian and I were left in the huge living room. Our eyes accidentally met. I quickly looked away, pretending not to see him, with an indifferent expression, and took out my earphones and put them on. They say that time passes quickly when scrolling through videos, and I really wanted this night when I felt like I was socially dead to pass quickly, so I lowered my head and started scrolling through videos. When putting on the earphones, out of the corner of my eye, I saw Zhou Jian also take out his earphones from his coat pocket and put them on, looking like he didn't want to pay attention to anyone. He sat down with a cold face at the sofa position farthest from me. I let out a long sigh of relief. I had thought too much. In fact, he didn't really want to pay attention to me either. I opened TikTok. The first video played automatically, and the title of the subtitle was, "How to Attract the Attention of Your Ex-Boyfriend." As soon as the video finished playing, I heard a snort of laughter coming from not far away. I slightly raised my eyes and saw a smile on the corner of Zhou Jian's mouth. He looked very happy and proud. It was as if he had been hooked like a top-mouth culture by someone he liked. It had only been 3 months since we broke up. Did he already have a new lover? For no reason, something seemed to tighten in my heart, and I felt a little uncomfortable. Scrolling through videos at someone else's house just isn't as enjoyable as doing it in my own bed. Perhaps because I wasn't comfortable enough, I had some difficulty understanding. I didn't really get it after watching it for the first time, so I watched it again. Well, let's watch it one more time. Finally, after watching it for the 8th time, I realized it belatedly. Why was I learning how to attract my ex-boyfriend's attention right now? I desperately want to be invisible in front of him. Okay, since I wasn't interested, I swiped it away decisively. The next one was a popular science video by Dr. Su Chao. Can a guy still get an erection after drinking? I stared at those words, my pupils dilated in shock, and quickly paused the video. Goodness, Dr. Su Chao, you didn't introduce yourself again. I couldn't guard against it, and there was nowhere for me to hide. Before, because I didn't wear earphones, I accidentally clicked on this type of video on TikTok in the elevator, which made me experience a severe case of social embarrassment. Later, I reflected on my mistakes. Whenever I scroll through videos, I always wear earphones and never play the sound out loud, and I never let a second person hear it. But today, although I was wearing earphones, I still felt uneasy. Subconsciously, I looked up and around, and found that the elders were all busy with their own things and no one heard it. The heart that had been hanging in the air quietly settled down. I retracted my gaze, and out of the corner of my eye, I couldn't help but glance at Zhou Jian not far away again. He frowned, and his smiling expression just now froze awkwardly. I don't know what he saw or heard that made him feel it was incredible. Never mind, compared to why Zhou Jian has an expression as if he had eaten shit. I'm still more curious about whether a guy can really get an erection when he's drunk. But after all, I'm at someone else's house. Even though no one is looking at me, I'm still a bit embarrassed to watch it openly. I don't know what I'm being coy about either. I always feel that someone will suddenly pop up behind me and stare at me secretly. I don't dare to watch it, but since I'm wearing earphones, I can listen. I pulled down the navigation bar to cover the video. I just listened without looking. After listening for a few seconds, all I could hear in my ears was the chattering of the elders chatting. Where's Dr. Su? I want to hear Dr. Su's voice. That's when I realized that there seemed to be no sound coming from my earphones. I didn't hear any sound in the first video either. Was it on mute? I long pressed the volume button and vigorously turned up the volume. Then I found that there was still no sound even when the volume was turned up to the maximum. Were the earphones broken? What? These were the earphones I just bought today. This was the first time I wore them. They cost more than 1,000 yuan, and they broke just like that. My heart was broken into pieces, and I didn't want to accept the fact that the earphones were broken, so I paused the video and then played it, and then paused it and then played it again, but it was all in vain. I also tried to turn the volume down and then up and then down and up again. Still no use. I turned off the Bluetooth and was going to reconnect it again. Suddenly, Zhou Jian beside me spoke. Xia Tingyi, are you deaf? Me, yes, he can even after drinking. Stop watching me. Even with his 5.2 vision, he couldn't see what was on my small phone screen. Right, surely not. Could it be that he heard it? Surely not. I didn't hear anything even though I was wearing earphones, let alone the sound leaking to him. There were 2 sofa positions between us. Just as I was feeling confused, Zhou Jian walked over, took off his earphones, and said with a disgruntled look on his face, do you know why there's no sound, ex-girlfriend? It's because you're connected to my earphones. For F***'s sake, me, I just said that there's nothing more embarrassing than having my ex-boyfriend be my supervisor's son. Now there is. Looking closely, the floor of Zhou Jian's house is spotless and extremely clean. That's because I've completely lost face. No matter what little tricks you want to play, keep them to yourself. I don't like you anymore. Stop acting all strange and coquettish here. You have no sense of propriety. Zhou Jian squeezed the earphones in his hand and warned me through gritted teeth. I was furious. Dude, you're not that unforgettable. Also, why don't you reflect on yourself? You still don't want to change to a new pair of earphones even though we've broken up for so long. The earphones he's using now were the birthday gift I gave him when we were together. We often used each other's things interchangeably, and we even connected our phones to each other's devices. What should I reflect on? It's my freedom to change the earphones or not, and I don't need to reflect on it. As for you, you said that we would never contact each other again and you would never appear in front of me. Now, it's you who came to my house first. Oh, it's my freedom to go wherever I want. If you think I'm an eyesore, you might as well dig a hole and bury yourself, so that I won't appear in front of you. Yes, yes. You're so free that you've come to my house. You're so overbearing. Why don't you just say that my whole family belongs to you? Fine, since you're mine, go ahead and write a great thesis and put my name as the first author. I was a bit awkward and coy when I first faced him, but now that we were arguing, the memories of our past bickering came rushing back and hit me hard. Seeing him looking defeated, I suddenly felt extremely satisfied. I stood up directly, rolled up my sleeves, and was ready to continue arguing with him, but suddenly, Zhou Jian stopped talking. I frowned and looked at him. It wasn't cold that day, so why was his face blushing? I sneered. Oh, you're so sensitive that you're blushing just because I said a few words to you. You have super sensitive skin. Zhou Jian didn't say anything, just pursed his lips and sulked. What are you two kids standing there for? It's time to eat. The voice of my supervisor's wife came from the kitchen during the meal. I was immersed in the joy of winning the argument. My supervisor saw me grinning widely while eating, pushed his glasses up on the bridge of his nose, and squinted his eyes. Xiao Tingyi, how's the progress of your experiment? Have you sorted out those experimental data? Have you read the literature I sent you? You can also send me the outline of your thesis first. The corners of my raised mouth instantly dropped. Did he really have to bring up such a heavy topic during the meal? Zhou Jian, who was sitting beside me, snorted with a hint of schadenfreude. My supervisor didn't let him off either. Is it that funny? Then I'll leave her to you. Xiao Tingyi, you can show the first draft of your thesis to Zhou Jian later. Me, Zhou Jian, my parents didn't say anything, just kept eating and watching the drama. My supervisor's wife pinched my supervisor's arm. We're having a meal. This is home, not the place where you hold meetings. If you keep nagging, you'll eat with the dog later. I wanted to laugh, but I held it back after scolding my supervisor. My supervisor's wife turned to me with a loving smile and said, Xia, don't pay attention to him. Take your time with the thesis. If you don't understand something, you can ask Jian. You're of the same age and should be able to talk well. Zhou Jian, who had been silent for a long time, spoke up. No way, I can't talk to someone who can't write a thesis. To liven up the atmosphere, my supervisor's wife began to share the embarrassing story of Zhou Jian being chased and pecked on the butt by a chicken when he was a child while trying to get eggs from the chicken coop. I listened with great interest and couldn't help but giggle when picking up food. I wasn't paying attention and reached out with my chopsticks towards the stir-fried pork with chili. Suddenly, the four parents stopped laughing and talking. Their gazes all fell on me, to be precise, on me and Zhou Jian. Following my mother's gaze, I looked down at my bowl. The piece of chili beef that I had just picked up somehow ended up in Zhou Jian's bowl. I let out a silent scream of shock in my heart. When I was with Zhou Jian before, whenever there was something I didn't like to eat and he was by my side, I was used to asking him to deal with it. I can't eat spicy food, but this time I didn't hesitate for even a second. Before I even realized it, the piece of meat covered in red chili peppers had already been put into Zhou Jian's bowl by me. Muscle memory is truly terrifying. Zhou Jian quickly put the meat into his mouth and smiled cunningly at me, saying, Don't worry, even if you pick food for me, I won't help you with your thesis. I wish this spicy dish could choke him. I didn't dare to be distracted anymore and focused on eating. Only then did I notice that more than half of the plate of big shrimps in front of me was already gone. I took a look and saw that Zhou Jian had an empty bowl and was peeling the shrimps one by one and putting them into the bowl. I was too lazy to peel them and didn't really want to eat them just now, but now, Seeing the peeled shrimps, I secretly swallowed my saliva. I plan to buy some and make them at home tomorrow. At this moment, my supervisor's wife said to him, "You're allergic to seafood, why are you peeling so many shrimps?" Zhou Jiayan smiled and said, "I peeled them for you." My supervisor's wife gave him a look and said, "Guess who you inherited your allergy from?" Then she turned to me and said, Eat them, this way. You won't get your hands dirty by peeling them yourself." I looked at Zhou Jiayan cautiously. He pushed the bowl towards me and said, "Eat them, eating more can make you smarter." "Fine, for the sake of the big shrimps, I won't hold this grudge for now." After the meal, the elders were chatting noisily. Zhou Jiayan received a phone call and said he had something urgent to deal with and went out. After he left, the topic somehow turned to him. My mother gossiped curiously, "Going out so late? Is he going to meet his girlfriend?" "No, he doesn't have a girlfriend. Although he's not young anymore, he doesn't plan to date, and we don't force him." My supervisor's wife took a sip of tea, lowered her voice, and said as if sharing a secret that couldn't be told, "Some time ago, he seemed to have broken up. He didn't eat or drink at home and stayed in his room crying every day. I don't know how many of the flowers I planted in the yard he pinched to death. While pinching them, he kept mumbling that he never wanted to see her again in his life and didn't want to fall in love either. He's been busy with work recently, and he's feeling a bit better. We didn't dare to ask too much and just let it be." Me, Zhou Jiayan, crying, "That's really rare. During the years we were together, I've never seen him cry." So he was crying secretly. I buried my head in my coat, feeling a bit guilty. I broke up with him without giving him a reason. Wasn't he very decisive when he agreed to the breakup? Why was he crying secretly? At night, when I lay in bed, my mind was filled with the image of Zhou Jiayan crying. I tossed and turned and couldn't fall asleep. I opened TikTok and planned to scroll through some videos to help me fall asleep. As I scrolled, I habitually opened Zhou Jiayan's profile page and carried out my daily act of secretly checking on him. He still hadn't posted anything. When I swiped right to exit, I didn't hold my phone firmly, and it suddenly slipped from my hand and hit my nose directly. It hurt so much that I grimaced. When I picked up the phone that had fallen on the pillow, I realized that I had accidentally clicked the request update button on Zhou Jiayan's page with my nose. I even thought about what name I would give to the new account after canceling this one, but suddenly, I received a private message from Zhou Jiayan. Click it. It was a video of his abs taken in front of the mirror. "Damn, he's so hot. I haven't seen him for a few months, and he's secretly gotten in even better shape." Who said this account was bad? This account is really great. Woohoo, I can't touch him, and now I can't fall asleep even more. I was so afraid that he would retract the video that I quickly saved it. After watching it dozens of times repeatedly, I replied indifferently, "Okay, still not sleeping so late. Are you thinking of me?" I rolled my eyes and said stubbornly, "I can't write my thesis, so I'm suffering from insomnia as usual. If you can't write it, what are you doing playing with your phone?" iPhone 16 Pro Max 1 TB. Zhou Jiayan sent me an annoying and speechless emoji. I put down my phone and looked at the ceiling. Suddenly, I thought of his crying face again in the middle of the night. I felt sorry for him, and a sense of guilt welled up in my heart for the sake of him generously sharing his abs video. I wanted to apologize to him, so I picked up my phone and sent him a message. "Zhou Jiayan, are you asleep? I have something to tell you." I started editing a self-moving essay. He replied instantly, "What, you want to apologize to me? Right, don't pretend you want me to feel soft-hearted towards you, help you complete your thesis, and then kick me away again, right? Then let me test you. What do you really take me for, a substitute, or a tool?" Damn, although I know I'm a good student who is dedicated to studying, he can't think of me as that bad, can he? I silently deleted the 300 words I had just typed and asked him, "Do you have the link to the money tree in your house? Hehe. Do you want to buy one for him?" I don't have it. I couldn't understand what he was talking nonsense about, so I said listlessly, "Fine, if you don't have it, I have to go to the school registration tomorrow. It's annoying, let's stop chatting." Then Zhou Jiayan, officially agreed to the start of the semester. I need a tutorial on being mean. The next day, I went back to school and cleaned the dormitory bed that I hadn't lived in for a long time before. I had been living with Zhou Jiayan because we broke up. I moved out of his apartment. I couldn't help but buy a lot of things for living in the school dormitory this semester. When I was about to go to the courier station to pick up my packages, I realized that I hadn't received a single pickup code. This shouldn't be right. I bought these things a week before the start of the semester. After checking, I let out a shrill scream in the dormitory and almost got thrown out by my roommate. I forgot to change the delivery address when I bought the packages, and they were all sent to Zhou Jiayan's apartment. Why didn't he tell me anything about it? Without thinking, I rushed to his apartment without delay. It was the weekend, he should be at home. I stood at the door and called him. After a long while, he answered, "What do you want?" It were just two cold words, but his voice was unusually hoarse and a bit panting, with obvious ups and downs in his heavy breathing, carrying an indescribable sense of lust. My heart skipped a beat when I heard it. Had he just finished working out? I forgot to change the delivery address of my packages, and they were sent to your place. I'm here to pick them up. Oh, then come in. After saying that, he hung up the phone quickly. I waited for a long time, but he still didn't come to open the door for me. I lost my patience. I tried to put my thumb on the password lock. With a beep, the door opened. I looked at the open door, feeling a bit surprised. After entering, I didn't see Zhou Jiayan. I walked straight in and called him tentatively, "Zhou Jiayan." As soon as I finished speaking, he came out of the bedroom. He wasn't wearing a shirt, and he was wearing a pair of gray sweatpants on his lower body. His lips were moist, the corners of his eyes were red, and the bangs on his forehead were wet. He looked blurred and alluring. I was so afraid that my eyes would be glued to him that I quickly looked away and glanced around. "Why did you come out without wearing a shirt?" "Sorry." I was stunned. It was just that he wasn't wearing a shirt. He didn't offend me, and instead, it was a bit of a treat for my eyes. There was nothing to be sorry about. I coughed lightly. "Where are my packages?" "On the balcony." He raised his chin towards the corner of the balcony, and I walked over. "Humph. I thought you were planning to get back together with me, so you sent the packages here." He followed behind me, curved his lips, and mumbled. I was busy checking the packages and didn't hear him clearly, so I asked him, "What did you say?" He raised his hand to wipe the sweat on his forehead and pursed his lips without speaking. Seeing that he didn't say anything, I looked up at him standing beside me, because I was squatting. The angle at which I looked up was not good. My mind was instantly filled with dirty thoughts, and I quickly pulled down a strand of hair to cover my blushing face. After checking the packages, I suddenly thought of something and said to him, "By the way, I left several sets of clothes at your place before. I'll take them away together." "What clothes?" His expression froze instantly. His eyes dodged, and a trace of guilt and confusion flashed across his face. "A few sets of underwear and a few skirts. They should still be in the closet, right?" "What? You didn't throw them away, did you?" Seeing his expression, I became anxious. Those skirts were not cheap. I had only worn them a few times. "Zhou Jiayan, I'm not done with you." I walked towards the bedroom in a bit of anger. Seeing this, Zhou Jiayan quickly chased after me and tried to stop my hand from pushing the door. "Don't." But it was too late. I had already pushed the door open. On the big bed, my short skirt and underwear were crumpled up and scattered randomly. Combined with his abnormal behavior just now, I instantly understood. He stood beside me, looking at me nervously and at a loss. I laughed out of anger and asked knowingly, "What were you doing?" Just then, my phone rang. It was a video call. I looked at the name and frowned. I didn't plan to answer it, and the call hung up by itself after a while. After the silence, an embarrassing atmosphere that couldn't be ignored filled the air. I twitched the corners of my mouth. "How about the other clothes?" Upon hearing this, Zhou Jiayan's gaze moved away from my phone. His face turned red, and he, who was always calm and composed, suddenly stuttered, "I'm sorry, if you don't like it, I won't do it again in the future. I'll compensate you for all the clothes." Zhou Jiayan said he would compensate me, and I didn't decline. After all, who would say no to new clothes? I thought he was going to take me to buy new clothes, but he just transferred 50,000 yuan to me. I looked at the transfer and was confused. Is it not enough?" He lowered his head and tapped on the screen a few times. This time, it was 200,000 yuan. Well, although Zhou Jiayan used to have a mean mouth, he did have a bit of a people-pleasing personality. Zhou Jiayan was a bit proud. "This is the best I can do for my ex-girlfriend," I sneered. "You're actually quite nice. Then I'll reluctantly write a letter of recommendation for your next girlfriend." Zhou Jiayan. At night, lying on the hard bedboard in the dormitory, I kept my eyes open and didn't dare to close them, because as soon as I closed my eyes, I would see the indescribable images of Zhou Jiayan with a lustful expression. I licked my lips and secretly cursed myself for being spineless. I was the one who initiated the breakup, and I couldn't bring myself to ask for a reconciliation. But I also missed his body very much. Since I couldn't fall asleep, I simply got up and started writing my thesis. My supervisor read the first draft of my thesis and sent it back with a lot of annotations. I didn't have a clear idea of how to revise it, so I planned to search for a few more relevant literatures for reference. I opened CNKI and, as if possessed, typed Zhou Jiayan's name into the search bar when I realized what I had done. I quickly patted my forehead, trying to stay sober. The next second, I clicked the search button. I had been so focused on lusting after Zhou Jiayan's body that I hadn't even read his thesis. I was a bit curious about how a PhD student crafted his academic work. I opened his graduation thesis. After reading half of it, I couldn't laugh anymore. Damn, it was so well written. He could even be my supervisor without any problem. If I had known he was this good at writing while I was like a desperate illiterate, when he talked back during our quarrels, I should have just kissed him. Instead of breaking up with him now, we were both unhappy. I felt regretful. Bracing myself, I sent him a message. Are you asleep? Zhou Jiayan replied instantly, asking if I'm asleep at 4:30 in the morning. How about I put your name as the beneficiary of my insurance policy? That's not a bad idea. Are you suffering from insomnia again because you've been playing with your smartphone? No. Can you help me look at my thesis? Oh, so you think of me now. What were you doing earlier? Why didn't you think of asking me to help you with your thesis when you were scolding me? Did you expect this day when you broke up with me? Let me tell you, I have principles. I won't show mercy and help my ex-girlfriend with her thesis. I rolled my eyes and was about to reply, you stingy guy. Before I could send it, another message came from him. What are you waiting for? Send it over. The offer expires. My time is precious. I quickly sent my thesis to him, being overly obsequious at that moment. I thought his sarcasm was as pleasing to me as sweet nothings. After a moment of silence, he asked, if I help you revise it, you should give me some benefits, right? Then I'll reluctantly help you check if your abs are in good shape. You sure know how to take advantage. You really are something. Then I'll check your whole body. Is that okay? The next day, Zhou Jiayan and I made an appointment to revise the thesis at the coffee shop at the school gate. When I arrived after class, he told me that he had an urgent meeting and asked me to wait for a while. I was about to find a seat to sit down when a voice behind me called my name, Xia Tingyi. I turned around and thought the person looked somewhat familiar. I frowned and searched my mind for the name that matched this face. I'm Song Yao, the person said. Oh, the annoying guy was here 3 months ago. He suddenly messaged me saying that he had returned to the country. I didn't reply. Then he started calling me every day. I didn't answer any of his calls and blocked him. I secretly had a crush on him for 3 years in high school. And most of the time, I could only see the back of his head. After the college entrance examination, I confessed my love to him, and he agreed. He even changed his college application to the same school as mine. I was very happy during the time we were together, thinking that my secret love had finally come true. But 2 months later, he told me that he was going to study abroad, that he had only failed in the same college as mine to tease me, and that being with me during the summer vacation was just for fun. He told me not to take it to heart. He said that an ordinary college student like me and someone like him who was going to study abroad and have a bright future were destined to have no future together. I was extremely angry just because he was going abroad. He thought he was a genius. This guy's college entrance examination score was still dozens of points lower than the lowest admission score of my undergraduate school. I was really blind to have fallen for such a guy whose relationship with me was like a stain on my record. Remembering the past, I didn't have a good expression for him and said coldly, what do you want? Of course, Xia, you've become much more beautiful. Sit down, and let's catch up. Song Yao was thin and wore a pair of gold-rimmed glasses on his nose, exuding an air of shrewdness. Spit it out if you have something to say. I became more and more impatient at that moment. I suddenly realized that ex-boyfriends were not all the same. I'm getting married, as my first love. Will you come? Me. Actually, I still liked you a lot back then, but I didn't get admitted to the same school as you, and I felt ashamed. Also, I was young and inexperienced at that time and only filled in one college application. I had no choice but to ask my family to let me study abroad. I didn't break up with you on purpose. Oh, you're so great. Blaming me for your own arrogance and the fact that you filled in your college application randomly and ended up not being admitted to any university. Is that right? Song Yao pushed his glasses up. I don't mean to blame you. I know it's my problem, but over the years, I often think of you. I've met many girls abroad, but they can't compare to your place in my heart. I often miss you. I rolled my eyes so hard. Then can you get lost? Your white moonlight here is feeling nauseous just looking at you. Song Yao wasn't angry either. I suppressed the urge to splash coffee on him and stood up to leave. He was still talking to himself. You and Zhou Jiayan are both really good at talking. You've met my boyfriend. I frowned. Okay, I won't say anything. You'd better go to him. He's almost turning green with jealousy. What? Isn't that your boyfriend? He's over there. He raised his hand and pointed to the position behind me. I turned around, and Zhou Jiayan was standing there, staring fixedly at us with complex emotions in his eyes. Song Yao continued, why don't you go and soothe him? I'll have to keep one eye open while sleeping tonight to be on guard. I'm afraid he'll assassinate me with that look in his eyes. A weakling like you doesn't deserve his assassination. I'm mentally ill, and I can kill you right now in broad daylight. I reached into my bag, fumbling around and muttering to myself, where's my knife? The way he looked at me gradually became strange. Finally, he couldn't sit still and fled the coffee shop in an embarrassing state. After Song Yao left, I walked towards Zhou Jiayan. He was sitting there, his lips tightly pursed, not saying a word. He was like a docile dog. I wasn't used to it. I walked up to him and snatched the bouquet of flowers from his hand. Oh, you bought flowers. Are they for me? Zhou Jiayan didn't say anything. As I admired the flowers, I thought of what Song Yao had just said. It seemed that he had met Zhou Jiayan. I straightened my expression and asked Zhou Jiayan, have you met that crazy guy just now? Zhou Jiayan nodded. He said that 3 months ago, Song Yao suddenly found him. Song Yao took out a lot of photos of me and him together, as well as the love letters I had written to him. He told Zhou Jiayan that he was my first love, my white moonlight, and Zhou Jiayan, who only resembled him a bit, was just a substitute. I was greatly shocked when I heard this and couldn't help interrupting Zhou Jiayan. Did you really believe him? Zhou Jiayan nodded. We do look somewhat alike, I can't deny that. It was hard for me to connect Song Yao's strange-looking face, like the bronze statues from Sangxingdui, with Zhou Jiayan's handsome face like a 3D model. Why didn't you tell me when he came to you? I originally wanted to tell you, but every time he called you, you would answer the phone while avoiding me guiltily. I didn't dare to confront you about it. I felt really bad. Song Yao did call me every day during that time, and I hung up on all his calls, but I was too embarrassed to tell Zhou Jiayan about this embarrassing love experience that was like a stain on my record. His mouth was so mean. I was afraid that if he knew about it, he would use it to mock me countless times. I felt terrible about keeping it a secret, so I always avoided him guiltily. I would hide in a corner where no one was around and complain about that scumbag Song Yao to my only best friend who knew about it. In the past, when I quarreled with Zhou Jiayan and mentioned breaking up, it was just out of anger. He had never agreed, but that time, when I broke up with him, he agreed very decisively. I thought he had had enough of me. It turned out that Song Yao had been sowing discord between us. After learning the truth, I was so angry that I stomped my feet. I rolled up my sleeves, wanting to slap Song Yao twice. Zhou Jiayan stopped me. You don't need to do it. I've already submitted the materials reporting his company for tax evasion. Let's go and watch the court session together. I looked at Zhou Jiayan in surprise. He lowered his head and touched his nose, looking a bit embarrassed. I didn't mean anything else. I just really wanted to get him in trouble and then take his place. You mean you've gotten back together with Dr. Zhou? Yeah. You mean you were caught by your parents while kissing him by the artificial lake downstairs in your residential area? In reality, I wrote 3,000 words yesterday and deleted 4,000 words today. After 2 days of hard work, I was still 1,000 words short. My best friend immediately sent a voice call. My phone is fully charged, and I'm using Wi-Fi. Tell me the details. Zhou Jiayan and I had nothing to hide, so we directly confessed to my parents. The next day, they made an appointment to have a meal with Zhou Jiayan's parents. Our mothers were very happy, holding hands and never stopping smiling. My father wasn't very happy. He thought that when we first met Zhou Jiayan at his house, Zhou Jiayan's attitude towards me wasn't very good, but when my father saw that as soon as I opened my mouth to scold Zhou Jiayan, he knelt down on the ground with a thud. My father wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and quickly said, "Daughter, take it easy, don't treat young Zhou like a dog." My supervisor wasn't very happy either, because from now on, he would have to think twice before scolding me. Although it had been a bumpy road, I finally graduated from my master's program successfully. On the day of my graduation, my family got together for a meal and set the wedding date for Zhou Jiayan and me. After being busy with the thesis defense and the graduation ceremony for several days, I should have been very sleepy, but I just couldn't fall asleep. I rolled over to Zhou Jiayan, who was pretending to be asleep. When he saw me roll over, he hugged me tightly and pulled me into his arms. His hand instinctively reached under my clothes and caressed my waist, but then he suddenly stopped. "No, you've been too tired these days, let's just sleep tonight." But I didn't listen and just kept unbuttoning his clothes. My hand was already wandering back and forth on his abs. When he realized what I was doing, he quickly held my hand, and his voice had become a bit hoarse. "Are you sure you want to do it tonight?" I smiled and leaned close to his lips, and kissed him. Let's do it, comma, the end of the full text.